Well, everybody, and welcome to a special live stream for DC Studios Podcast, the Film Reelists Podcast, and Ben's Take. We're here to discuss DC Studios Supergirl, which is now finally playing in theaters. And I'm sorry, I think I'm seeing a spider, and I'm afraid of spiders. If my eyes get lost, that's what I'm paying attention to. But I promise you, the show will go on. Just if I'm looking anywhere, that's the reason. I'm Andy B, one of your hosts, and terrified of spiders, unless it's Spider-Man. And I'm joined with an amazing group of people tonight to talk about this movie. So first, as always, we have DC Studios and Multiverse of Color's own Keenan Walker. Hi, Keenan.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm great. I am so good. I'm excited to talk about this movie with everyone.
Likewise, yeah. I know that, and I promised you, because I know I messed up one time. I didn't get you on for one of the trailers. I'm like, Keenan, I will make sure that the review will have you on it. If it's the last thing I do. So we're glad to have you. Also joining us is the host of the Film Reelists Podcast, hosted by a somebody, which he's going to kill me for saying, and one of our lovely contributors at Multiverse of Color, so Kyle. Hi, how are we doing today?
I'm good. I'm excited. It's been so long since we had anything from the DCU.
Yeah. I had more hair about last time there was something from DCU, so definitely not a haircut.
No, that's of course not. And we all got the care package in the mail, obviously, with our apparel. So perfect. Thank you, James Gunn, who personally sent us all these shirts.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Yeah, I'm super grateful to get my PR box and my influencer check or whatever. I almost wanted to pull up like a Supergirl comic or something, just be like, "Hi guys," like all those influencers do, and then do
wait, you ready for it?
Okay.
Mine's over there.
No, but I got this from the public library.
That's even better. Support that stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. My kids love the library.
I did a whole reel about the graphic novel section at my local library.
No, but that's the thing, a lot of people don't know. I think a lot of people just don't know that the comics are available at libraries. So I'm spread the word, because I hate during even COVID, when we were seeing a lot of comic book stores closing down and whatnot. So keep those local places up however you can. We also have the man himself of Ben's Take, Ben Rolfe. How are we doing tonight, Ben?
What's up?
What's up?
Good. Excited to talk about Supergirl. Yeah, we're all on brand.
We're all on brand, yeah.
Wait,
and
did
also,
you guys buy yours by any chance, or did you get given it?
James
James
Gunn gave it to me personally and told me to say only nice things about DC, because I apparently
you
can buy my opinion.
By the way, I want to point something out. Four of us. Well, actually, we have one more, but I want people to remember that there was someone just recently who was on the air somewhere saying that men would not watch Supergirl. I'm like, sure about that, Fox News? You sure about that? Because I think we're all.
Anytime they say something like that, I'm like, show me your browser history. I want to see your browser history right now. Show it to me. Show it to me.
Richard.
That can go in so many different directions, but I'm going to behave
exactly
because we're going to bring on one of the new voice here on these Studios Podcasts. She is someone I worked with for the last few years at ScreenRant, and she is just as passionate about DC, Superman, Supergirl, superheroes, comic books, you name it. And she's the lovely Miss Allison Hamburg. So Allison, welcome to DC Studios Podcast. How you doing?
Hi. I'm good. Hanging in there. I did not get the memo on the shirts. Jason. I was thinking about Jason. James
we all are.
Does not know I exist. Jason Momoa does, but
yes, that's there you go. But we're happy to have you, and joining. We do. Yara who was on the last episode. She's going to be joining us later. She's on her way home from having seen Supergirl again. So that's awesome. So she will be with us hopefully shortly. But last but not least, is the wonderful host of Anarchy, someone who also puts a safe when it comes to putting out safe community spaces to talk about DC, especially in this current age of social media, this guy is one of my favorites. It's when it's on TikTok, when on his own YouTube channel. So we're gonna welcome back the other Ben.
Thank you. There's
How you
another,
doing today?
oh, there's another Ben here. Cool name, dude.
Yeah,
Just noticed that.
yeah.
I'm
I'm
doing
gonna have
good.
to. I'm gonna have to figure out how to differentiate. I mean, it's either that I call you Daddy Ben or I call him Twink Ben. Like that's just one of the
I
one
like
of
the
them.
sound of that. Daddy
No.
Ben.
I usually call him Benjamin sometimes. So that'll be.
Don't call me Benjamin. That's like
No,
when
not
somebody's
you.
mad
Him,
at
the
me.
other one. No,
Oh, okay.
The tiny
Yeah.
one. The tiny one. I will be like
Yeah.
Benjamin. Like get your ass on seat as Rhino. That's how I will go. But wow, like look, like 5 dudes who watch Supergirl. Like,
Yeah. Will you imagine that?
how you doing, Jesse Walters? You said that men wouldn't see this movie. Again, I stand by what Keenan said. What's up with your browser history?
See your browser history.
Let's see your process.
Yeah, that was. Oh my God.
Hey,
But
I genuinely don't want to see Jesse Walters' browser history.
I don't think he knows how to use one. I don't think he even knows how to
Maybe he
use the
doesn't know how to
internet.
delete his browser history. That will be a mess.
No one teach him about incognito windows.
You think he's smart enough to know what that word even means? See, but like no. Like when I watched that segment of him talk about Supergirl and like the nonsense he had to say, I'm like, man, we need to be better. We need to be better when it comes to talking about like, because this week has been, these last 2 weeks has been challenging, to put it politely. Like, because like we all been excited for Supergirl, but then to see how the world is reacting, because God forbid that we have female superhero movies that we get so few of. But like they act like it's like the end of the like the beginning of the apocalypse when they arrive. So but yeah, we're gonna talk about Supergirl. We're gonna start with general thoughts and kind of like spoiler free as much as possible. Then we're gonna go into full spoiler territory. So if you haven't seen Supergirl, I don't know why the fuck you're here, but I'm glad you're doing this either way. But if you want, you can watch this later across all our YouTube channels. So go watch the movie first. It's now playing in theaters worldwide, and then come back and watch the stream. So, Allison, I'm going to start with you for general thoughts on Supergirl. And what were some of your early takeaways?
So, keeping it spoiler free. Generally, I liked it. I didn't love it. I don't think that Supergirl managed to match the quality, not even the tone, because it wasn't trying to match the tone that Superman gave us last summer. Millie was wonderful. She was probably the bright spot of the whole movie. The opening with Crypto, not getting into spoilers, was very sweet. So love a girl and her dog story. And then I almost called her Little Eve Ridley. That's so rude. Eve Ridley was also very sweet and endearing in her part. So I enjoyed those aspects. Of course, David was great as Superman. Where the movie loses me a little bit is that it has a bit of a villain problem, but that's something that we can talk about later. Generally, it was a good time. I don't think it's the cataclysmic mistake that so many seem to think it was, both making the second DC Supergirl movie and the way that they did it. I think a lot of reactions to this movie they have nothing to do with this movie. I'll put it that way. It's a fun time.
Ben, the dull one, not you, Ben. Not you, Benjamin.
Not me.
Ben.
Okay.
No. You,
Okay,
Ben.
somebody's going to be Ben .0. Who is going to be Ben .0? Who's the first Ben?
Well, we know
You
real.
can call me old
Anarchy
Ben. I'm the
is
oldest
older.
one here. So
You don't.
Let's call him Real Ben, right?
Yeah. Okay. Real Ben. Okay, we will go. I
real,
think
yeah,
that-
there you go. Real
sense.
Ben.
Yeah.
All right. So,
Look at you,
yeah.
on brand and everything.
I know.
There you go. So Real Ben, what were your general thoughts on Supergirl? Because have you already seen it twice by now, or like how many times?
Not
have you seen
twice. No, I didn't have time to watch it today. Twice? Nice. Haven't had
Twice
the pleasure. Oh, so the Bens are just one.
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, no, I saw it. I enjoyed it a lot. I said this on another live stream that I was last night, and the trailers didn't sell me a lot on the movie, so my expectations were kind of low, and so when I went to see it, I was pleasantly surprised. And like many of us probably agree, the villain was the weakest point. Millie Alcock is Supergirl through and through. It was had a lot of action. There's some characters that didn't move the story forward, but I was glad to see them there. It's not the mess that they're making it out to be. Me, my wife, and my daughter, we had a great time. We watched it, and I'll definitely watch it again. And I don't have anything like overly negative to say about the film, because I really like the third act, the way that everything played out, even the ending, which some people have some issues with, and we'll talk about it on spoiler territory. And I have something negative to say about it, and it's not about the film. It's rather the release. I don't think this movie should have been a summer blockbuster release. It should have been like a March, May type of film, and I think it would have play better around that time, because I think I said this before, that movies that come out in summer, they get scrutinized far more than any other movies that come out throughout the year.
Was I don't know how old your daughter is, but like, is Millie her first Supergirl that she's watched?
Yes.
Oh,
yes, it is.
That's so sweet.
Yes, it is. So she wants the toys. No, so
the merchandise is amazing for Supergirl. I saw like the reel with Millie when she reacted to seeing like the Barbie. I'm like, yeah, Supergirl has a Barbie. We love that. Benjamin, just so I can get the Bens out of the way. You saw it earlier this week. You got to actually see Millie Alcock and Peter Safran and Craig Gillespie, and who else did you see? Who else was there?
Jason Momoa, Ruthie's actor, I forgot her name.
Oh, Eve Ridley.
Eve. Yeah, most of the cast. It was really cool. It was like nice to see them before. It was like a kind of preview event, I guess. Like they only showed 30 minutes, which I still find weird. Like we're in the cinema, they're like, hey, see it in the cinema. We are literally in the cinema. Like, come on. And then we get to watch it like a week later, like fully. So that was nice to finally watch it. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was good. I am a fan of the comic book that it's based on. I think, all adaptations can be different. I think it's a shame you don't have the same visuals as the comics, but it's hard. But I generally like the film a lot, and I didn't think it was as strong as Superman. Definitely not. But I think this is a great, second step in the DCU. I really liked a lot of what I saw. Millie's great, and we got to explore the kind of space side of the universe, which I was happy to see, and introducing cool concepts like the green sun and different things like that. Sorry, that's a spoiler, but watch the film, guys. Come on. But
it's in here.
Yeah, that's true. I'll read the comic. Yeah. So yeah, I was pleasantly surprised, and I just feel like, when you have such a strong opening film like Superman, for me, I think there is that thing like, Pulp Fiction with Tarantino. It's like you can't make Pulp Fiction again. You can't make the second film as good. So you got to take almost like a very good film next up, but and then that's great that it's good and it's good enough, but it's never going to be Superman or Pulp Fiction or whatever. But yeah, that's just the way I see it. So I was happy with it, and I think it's a very good step in the right direction for the DCU.
Kyle, what were your general thoughts?
Oh, I'm surprised I wasn't saved for last.
Only because Keenan requested it, I didn't pick him first. So I'm like, okay, I let him go for last.
I I'm trying to think of what hasn't been said yet, because a lot of my thoughts have been covered. The selling point of this movie, like I thought about this after seeing it, was that like the amuse-bouche of who this Supergirl was, the app was the end of Superman. So if you were on board with that scene at the end of Superman, you're getting a whole movie of that. This is the entree, and it's awesome. The wild ride, again, it's very difficult to separate yourself if you haven't read the comic. But in terms of selling who this Supergirl is, I was talking to my wife after I saw it that what makes Kara so interesting is that she is allowed to emote in ways that Clark almost never is, where what makes a Superman movie interesting is what happens around Clark, and you see how he reacts to all the crazy around him, where because of Kara's experience being so different than his, that the emotional gambit and toll that Kara has been through lets Millie really sink her teeth into the journey of the movie. And what's been so tiring after seeing the movie, I saw it on Wednesday at a fan event, the conversation around the movie, which I'm sure we're going to get into, that part immediately exhausted me, just because where film criticism is now and then where it was, I don't know, 10 years ago, things seem to be very different, or the bar has changed. I made a note to myself of kind of some different shared universe films and their Rotten Tomatoes critic consensus scores, which I found kind of baffling because I didn't know what they would be. And I feel like we're sort of back where maybe some of us were in 2016, where the second film out of a shared universe is not getting beloved the way maybe we were hoping it would be. Like I said this on Film Reelists, this was my most anticipated movie of the year, and I got a lot of pushback on that because Supergirl's had one film and she was a part of a disaster that came out 3 years ago. So like getting to see this version of the character was awesome. Like that's what I wanted from this. I wanted Kara and Ruthie's journey to be hopefully reminiscent of what was so great about the comic. Allison brought it up. I'm sure we're going to get into it. Creme is not great. But other than that, the movie really did work for me. Like some of it might be overly predictable. And like you're taking 12 issues of a comic and condensing that into under 2 hours. And Ben mentioned it. The visuals are very bland, which is disappointing. The world itself is very tangible, which is great. Like a lot of practical and visual effects enhance some of that. Mm-hmm. Which is great. That is something that you should be doing. But at the end of the day, this is selling Supergirl and got me even more excited for seeing a full movie with Clark and Kara taking down Brainiac, because that's the springboard and I'm ready for it.
Especially after their relationship, after you saw them interacting a little bit, I was like, I want to see more of this.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Keenan, what are your general? I know when you and I talked off air, you've been very, very excited for Supergirl. What were your general thoughts seeing it for the first time?
I liked it, but I didn't love it. I went in wanting to feel something. I love projects that explore grief. So I went in I saw Superman in the theater 3 times, and I each time left feeling hopeful, like this level of joy. I don't know if I expected to cry or have some kind of a personal emotional catharsis from this movie, but it didn't move me the way I was hoping to feel. And I don't think that was the movie's fault. All the elements were there, but I feel like the ending just fell a little flat to me. But I liked it. I mean, I liked it enough to go back to see it. But I mostly went back to see it because I didn't remember seeing any Black people on Krypton, and I wanted to make sure there were Black people on Krypton.
Yeah.
Yes. But I was like, wait, what?
I mean, they got killed.
Yeah. There's only 2 now. No, Ben, it's not a spoiler.
I'm sorry.
Krypton died. You're fine. Krypton is dead in almost every version.
Well, on Argo in general, it was like, were there Black people in Argo?
Were you done or like?
Yeah, that was. I mean, Jason Momoa was a scene stealer and I was there for every scene he was in. He was great. Probably also a very big highlight of the movie for me was watching him and Ruthie.
Yeah,
Oh
they
my
were
God.
funny.
Yeah, we will get into that. For my general thoughts, I've seen it twice. I saw it yesterday and today. Yesterday I saw it by myself, and today I saw it with my buddy who he's not like he doesn't follow comics that much. So I got to be his like comic book friend who's like explaining like afterwards like this is what it means so and so. I actually brought the comic with me just to kind of show somebody compares it afterward. I going into the film, like I did not like I knew like some of the reactions online was going to be strong, so I made sure to like just prepare myself. Like I'm not going to let this affect me going into it. Like I want to, like I spoke to a lot of people who had already seen it, like including Allison, our good editor and friend Molly Freeman, and a lot of people's different opinions. But I'm gonna go into this and like really make judges for myself because that's what I do as a critic. Like I don't want to be influenced by what others think, and I'm watching it and I'm feeling that like I'm having like a genuinely good time. Like for me, like I don't need every superhero movie to be like the scale and like success of an Avengers, Infinity War, or Endgame. Like I feel we live in that climate right now where, for some reason, everything has to match what those two films did, and I'm like, no, I just want good movies that I enjoy. So seeing Super, I'm like, for the first viewing, I'm like, there's issues. It's not perfect, but like, it is a good movie. I was just right because for some reason, like the lights went on in the middle, went back on in the middle of the film, and that like my ADHD was so triggered that I'm like, okay, thank God I'm seeing this tomorrow. And like before I even went back to the theater today, I was like, y'all fix this, right? And they're like, yeah, no, don't worry. So this time, the second time I was able to watch it without any interruptions, and it made me enjoy it even more. And it made me also see some of the issues a little more on hand because like, the second time you're focusing on other things. But I do see some of the criticism that is out there from various critics out there, and I understand we're going to discuss them as well. But I do think that that extreme hatred for this film is not justified, and again, like this is what we expect to see now when it comes to any female superhero movies or films that are not led by a white straight male protagonist, because God forbid it's like us people of color or sexuality, like it's like we only started to exist like 5 years ago and we're now like trying to push our way. Like no, we've been here for like millennia. It's like we're fine. So yeah, I get some of the criticism, but also a lot of it, I'm like, y'all just hate women. There's no other way to say it.
I think it's a combination of a lot of that and the current climate when it comes to social media. Rage baiting has become just the thing that will get you engagement, the thing that will make your channel grow, whether it's a YouTube channel or blog whatever it is. Doing something negative will get you far more reach than being positive about certain thing, or even objectively unbiased will not get you the same engagement if you say compare it to saying something outlandish negative.
Yeah, and it's, also because like we're also living in, another factor I think that plays into it is the fact that there are still that division between people who are generally excited for the DCU and then people who want the other thing to come back. You know who you are, and it's just like, again, like you can only block it out as much as possible. But like, there's definitely like, again, like I can't, at the end of the day, I can't put the full blame on the film complete of like, oh, because it was bad. No, like it's a lot of good things with it. Some of it is bad because of what the film did, but some of it is out of the film's control because people are using Supergirl, they're using Millie Alcock as a launch pad to just hate on the existence of this film, because like even today, I was like, as I was chatting with my friend after we saw the film, an older gentleman came up and saw my shirt and like first listed like the weakest Superman dad joke I've ever heard, but then asked like, like, but who's Supergirl? Like, is that like a female Superman? I'm like, no, that's his cousin. That's his cousin. I'm like, he has a cousin? I'm like, yeah. Maybe go see the film. He's like, okay, maybe I have to. Maybe I have to. I don't know if he will, but like it was clear on my. Some people really think Supergirl has just been like created in the last like 5 years as like some sort of like gender bent version of Clark. Like no, like she's existed for several decades, and I'm like, this is just it's ridiculous. But let's get into some more specifics now, because there's a lot to discuss. So I want to let's start with some of the positives. Some of our what did we like? What were some of our favorite moments? So I will hand it back to Allison. What were some of your stand-up moments? Like what really worked for you with this Supergirl film?
Okay, I promise no tangents, but I will say people not knowing who Supergirl is at this point in time is kind of crazy. She's had a TV show, she's had movies, she's been in all kinds of animated projects. Anybody that does not know who Supergirl is living under a rock. Now, I will say my own dad thought that Supergirl was his sister this whole time, but that's, I think, at least a fair confusion to have.
Yeah.
Right.
All of that aside, as far as what worked in the movie, I touched on this a little bit, but Millie in particular was great. She gave a very emotional performance. She seemed to have a very solid understanding of Kara as a character. Sorry, Kara. The Arrowverse ruined me. Kara as a character and what makes her tick, why she is the way that she is, that sort of stuff. And then more in terms of her characterization outside of Millie's performance, I liked that they let her be messy. I actually, contrary to what a lot of people have said, enjoyed the fact that she wasn't in her suit the whole time, because there she was in her baggy t-shirt and sweatpants, because that is what we wear most of the time. And then, weirdly enough, something that I pointed out that I liked, and when I saw it the second time, my mom was with me and she said the same thing. We thought it was incredibly funny and kind of accurate to how girls act around each other, that she just went to the bathroom with the door open in her RV. Like, that's such a small thing, but giving a female character space to be messy and weird and impolite in the ways that real women and people in general, but women are and usually aren't in movies, was something that I appreciate. And then stepping outside of Kara, I actually quite liked Ruthie. I know some people had mixed responses to her. She is characterized differently from the comic, I would say. But I think Eve Ridley gave, especially for her very first film, a great performance, and she was very endearing. She was a softer character than perhaps some that would have read the comics would anticipate. But I think that played well into why Kara cared about her as much as she did, because it's this vulnerable little girl that doesn't fully understand the world around her. And so that kind of led to their relationship kind of having a beautiful sisterhood to it. And then, of course, the main man has to be discussed. Lobo was awesome. I have long said, as I'm sure you guys have or other people listening, Jason Momoa should have been cast as Lobo from the start, and Aquaman was just a side quest. I think he was wonderful as Lobo. I'll get into a negative opinion on that later, but I think he was wonderful as Lobo. I hope to see more from him, and it was clear that he was having the time of his life on screen. And I think that can really add to the quality of an actor's performance when you can tell they genuinely care about the character and why they're there. As far as other positives, Superman. But I don't know that I need to elaborate, just Superman. So, a lot of what I enjoyed about this movie does come down to the actors' choices. And I think they elevated some of the areas where the movie didn't quite work for me. So
Real Ben. What were
Oh.
some of your positives?
My strongest positive, it was how this movie depicted uh, Kara. Uh, because, like you said, some of you said that a lot of people believe that this is a female version of Clark, and it's not. It's far from that. And they made it very clear how messy, how different, how views the world. And I think that was my favorite thing. Like, let the educate the movie goers that this is not a female version of Superman, that this is a whole different person who has her own personality and different traits and deals with villains differently than what Superman would. And that's one thing I like. Also the color palette. I know not too many people loved it, but I like that they created this universe where there are different tones for one film to another, from one show to another, even animated from one animated show to another. It's gonna look drastically different, and I appreciate that. It was a little bit desaturated, short, but I still enjoyed the hell out of it. The action, specifically on the third act, when you saw her like just full on going Super Saiyan, which I thought that was pretty. I thought that was pretty cool. Even like the fighting scenes, the fighting sequence, the flying. I enjoy her flying far more than I did Superman. Even though I like Superman far more, but like I like the fact that they kind of pull back the camera so you see the entire thing. I thought that was pretty good. I like this. What else did I like about? That's it. There's more. It'll get to me as I hear you guys.
Okay, that's perfect.
And I want to leave some for the rest of the guys.
Of course. Benjamin, what were some of your positives, like some of your favorite aspects of this movie?
Yeah, I mean, you guys kind of touched on some of them, but like definitely the tone, how it felt different from Superman. I was happy to see that because we know the DCU is going to be every film is going to be different and stuff, so it was nice to get a taste of that. And considering these two characters, Superman and Supergirl, wear similar costumes, and to the general audience they're like, what's the difference between Superman and Supergirl? Well, you find out in this film, and I particularly like the ending, which I won't say what it is, but it shows a big difference between the two of them.
Yep.
And yeah, I was really happy they didn't kind of shy away from showing that these two are different characters properly. The action scenes, yes, I think it's actually an upgrade on Superman. Like, I love Superman. I thought Superman was great. I saw it a lot of times. But generally, that was the main thing. I came out of the cinema like very impressed with the action. I was like, okay, like they're going for this. It's quite dynamic, and it's made to look like long takes, right? But it's not. It's like they're all stitched together. You can tell, but it's cool. It's different, and I think that shows some sort of like creative kind of identity for like Craig Giuseppe, or however you say his name. And yeah, so I was happy to see that, visually it was different, and it's not a James Gunn film. Like, James Gunn was just a producer on this, and he has kind of led the film into what it is, I guess. But yeah, so I don't know. I had a lot of positives, as you guys have said. Like Millie, Jason was amazing. I really enjoyed Jason as Lobo. He really stole the scenes. I wasn't so hot on Rufy. Krem was okay. Rufy had funny scenes with Lobo. Those were my favorite scenes with Rufy. But like, I think that the writing was a bit off with her. That's just me. But then with Krem, you know what? He was kind of intimidating. Looked a bit weird, but I guess that's the vibe they were going for. I was just still like, I preferred him in the comic book, really. But yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on the positives and a few negatives.
What about you, Kyle? You're muted.
You muted.
Sorry. What I liked most is this is kind of a backdoor pilot to how Kara is Supergirl, because Superman explored his relationship to his parents and they weren't great people, which is becoming more relevant in like a bunch of DC characters' backstories. The Batman did it also with the connections the Waynes might have had within Gotham City. And we got to see a very tiny glimpse of just what Jor-El and Lara were like. But what's really great about this film is obviously like Woman of Tomorrow, all those elements for the most part, they're there. We're going to probably get into Creme later. But in terms of how it serves to explain that potentially the other L's maybe were the crazy ones, and we get to see, I think, what most of us have come to think about for Jor-El and Lara, of those caring family, and the role that I always forget both of her parents' names. It's Alora and
Zor-El.
So just Zor-El, yeah. And the way that their relationship with Kara is sort of struggling to get through to her throughout the entire journey, because her whole life, I mean, we're in full spoilers, but the element of how they used Argo and how they delay her getting to Earth was not the way that I predicted it was going to be done. So I liked being surprised, because it's normally like a stasis pod, she's frozen, she's phantom zoned, right? Like those are typical, or she's like a goo pink lady dating Lex Luthor. Like usually most of the reasons Kara, it's in the 80s, Andy, don't worry about it. But most of the time the reason, or she's frozen, here, I'll give you one. She was frozen underwater and she's in some form of stasis, but the way in which they managed to have quite literally Argo City be its own place, separate from Krypton, and gave us an opportunity to see what Krypton is like, because so often, and I'll speak for myself and then maybe everybody else can weigh in, when we see Krypton, and it's usually Jor-El's like, we're doomed, and they all go, we don't believe you, and you go, you know what, go and blow up. I don't actually care if you die, because they're usually the Council of Krypton. They suck as people in every version for the most part. I mean, James Gunn leaned into that in the way that we hear that reiterated in this movie.
Yeah.
Like they're sending Kal-El to be a dictator, right? Like we see the little pod, and obviously Andy, it's not Brainiac, which I had predicted. I mean, so many probably did, but getting to use it as a much more personal grounding point for Kara, and the fact that she's not canonically she's worn the suit. Timeline wise, it's kind of a mess. I'd be curious, because she's in a coat wearing a costume at the end of Superman. But when we see her through all of this, she has maybe, I don't know. And she was wearing it in Peacemaker for the re-DCU canon. But the fact that she almost for herself earns being Supergirl because of what she goes through with Ruth, that part really worked for me. Like that's when the writing of the film was the strongest. There's some stuff in here that's relatively generic. The villain, Allison, the villain is the problem. I hated the look because it just screams, I'm scary and evil.
Yeah.
Which is what made Creme in the comic work so well, was just a suave looking ginger dude.
Unassuming dude, yeah.
Right? Unassuming. And I mean, we talked about it before we started recording. Putting Krypto in harm's way immediately gets everybody to empathize with what she's doing. But yeah, like I haven't had a chance, real Ben, not Benjamin, brought it up. I haven't had a chance to take my daughter to it yet. The Superman film was their first ever live action superhero movie, because they're the ages right now where they can dive into the DCU. The MCU, it's long gone. It's too much. It's homework now. Maybe it'll be a class by the time they're in university. But my daughter, pretty much since the first Supergirl trailer was released, timeline lies, or she would have had to have seen Superman first. But she's been very excited for this. And I'm going to take them at some point. If it's summer vacation has just started, it hasn't worked out. But this version of Kara is so much more complex than some other versions have had the opportunity, and again, I said this in non-spoilers, this sells who Kara is in the DCU, and I just want more of it.
Yeah.
Keenan, what were some of
agree.
your favorites and positives?
Yeah, Millie was great. I love watching Millie on screen. I think she was great, and I agree. She has defined who Kara Zor-El and who Supergirl is in this, or Kara. Y'all, I've seen it twice, and I didn't even catch that they were calling her Kara. And I'm actively rewatching Supergirl, like CW Supergirl, so
Why?
I guess I just heard
can't
it.
physically say that, by the way.
Kara?
Kara,
That's how scary it
Kara,
is.
it does hurt. It physically hurts to say Kara. I'll do my best.
I'm not.
Kara. Yeah, everyone with me on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Kara.
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 Kara Zor-El.
Okay, anyways. Yes.
You know what it reminds
but
me
loves
of?
her.
It reminds me of Daniel Craig trying to say Laura in an American accent in Tomb Raider 1. Lara.
Wow.
Like it's just he's struggling with that sound.
No, we haven't heard them say Laura out loud in the DCU. What if it's Lara?
Oh my god, they never referred to her once in the whole, like, we only know Jor-El and Zora. I don't even know if Allura was even said.
It was not.
Was it just in the casting?
That's crazy.
If
It's
even
No, wait.
that.
Allura.
No, Allura was mentioned once in the film.
Did
So
they say
Once.
her name?
It was in
One.
Kryptonese.
Supergirl's
Oh, yeah,
Supergirl's Kryptonian mother was mentioned once. That is like,
Well, mentioned
Bravo.
she's in the film a lot. Like
Yeah.
Yeah, she was the, I think she was our first loss to the radiation poisoning.
the first person that probably mattered to the story.
That's
Like
fair.
obviously
I mean,
a lot
for
of it.
us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The people we care about anyway.
go on, Keenan.
Yeah, but I particularly like the way that she uses her powers. Like, she is not afraid to crash out. Like, the DCU got to do the optic blast out of the water before MCU did. They got to do the big, like,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, that's some Cyclops shit. I mean, it's of course not concussive blast, but you get what I'm saying. Like, the visual of it. I was
Yeah.
like,
The heat vision was awesome because she
Yeah.
uses it like telescopically in a way like Clark's his heat vision's usually pretty boring. But
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
she blasts a 4-foot hole through a
Right.
ship, or she's using it as a torture device.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. She just and Lobo, just I loved Lobo. I loved him with Ruthie. I was like, give me an Adventures of Ruthie and Lobo. I will watch it. Give me that animated series right now. I want it. But
Yeah.
Funny thing that Kyle said about your children watching the DCU, starting off the DCU, and this is not a shot of anything because I took my daughter to see Superman, and I was watching, which I love, Man of Steel. I love that movie, and it's not everybody's cup of tea, but I love it. And I started watching it the other day, and my daughter's sitting right next to me, and she said, "What are you watching?" I'm like, "Watching Superman." She looked at it like, "That's not Superman." I just looked at her like
13 watching the movie theaters.
and she actually said that's too dark. So there goes that. Just wanted to share that little anecdote with you guys.
No, but I
Real
think it's
Ben, I
true,
was
like, sorry.
What's
I
up?
was thinking about how you were. Oh, look at my glasses. I was thinking about you talking.
What
about the
just
coloring.
happened to your
happened?
glasses?
He had like a magnetic
Oh, this
frame
is
that
his
changed
nipple.
the colors.
Oh,
Yeah, but I touch my face too much. I've gone through 2 pairs of sunglasses, so I can't. It's that's another story and another rant.
Cool.
But I liked the coloring of the movie. It was kind of gray. It was a little dark in times. Specifically, like the space shuttle fight and the way she's lit up in the sun. I loved it.
oh yeah.
Yes.
But the color, it was like, throughout the movie, dark, dusty, until the end when she kind of is moving forward and it's a little bit brighter and a little bit more colorful. And I was just sitting here thinking about that after you talked about the coloring. Yeah.
That was for me because that was something, I mean, to go in my favorite part. Like, and obviously, like, I mean, I don't know what else I can say about Millie. That, I mean, this is one of this is a generational casting moves for this character. I mean, we've never had a
Yeah.
bad live action Kara. Like all the Supergirls we had in live action have been amazing. I've loved them all. But to see such a different take on Supergirl and see what Millie could do, I'm like, this girl was born a star, and it was nice to, because again, I've talked to a lot of female critics over the last couple of weeks. They're kind of like, yeah, it is refreshing to see, that female superheroes can be portrayed as messy and flawed and just all being very layered. Because I feel like sometimes like people's expectation of female superhero movies is that it's all bright and sparkly and they're flawless and they're cheerful and they're this and this and that. And I'm like, no, women are just as complex as us dudes are. Like, and we need to be able to show that. Like, because like as funny as it was seeing her show up drunk at the end of Superman last year, like, at the same time, like she's drunk because she's grieving and depressed. Like she's emotionally wrecked, which is I think something a lot of us can relate to. And so to see what Millie could do, like, because I remember like when it was between her and the actress who voiced her in the Tomorrowverse,
It's Meg Donnelly, I think.
yes,
Yes.
her.
Yes.
Because I had I don't watch the Game of Thrones franchise, but like, so like I was like I would love to see Meg get the role. And I'm now, happy. I'm glad Millie was the one who won the role. I'm glad that they saw the potential in her and knew that like this is going to be something that so many young girls like will be able to take in, and of course young boys as well. Like, because again, like because that's the great thing. People like to think that superheroes and comic books are just for men, but it's like no, it's for everyone. And like men can look up to female superheroes just as much as women can look up to male superheroes. And for me, like seeing Kara, and as you guys pointed out so brilliantly, is that they really show you that she isn't just, Clark as a girl. Like, like she, because she had a life at Krypton. She got to grow up in Kryptonian culture. Like even like the scene, as fun as it was when he was like, I don't speak Kryptonian, and like, like I don't know what you're saying. I don't know why I'm speaking louder. Like I'm like that is so Clark. That is so adorable. But I love that. But it just speaks to the fact like, she lost her culture. She lost her people. Yes, Clark lost his Kryptonian heritage, but he also never had it to begin with. Like you can't miss something that he didn't really get to experience. And I love I loved all the Krypton stuff. Like like it's very similar to like one of the best parts of Man of Steel is doing that 20-minute opening at Krypton. Krypton here when in Argo City, I'm like, fuck, I want more. Like this is so good. Like I love that this Krypton and this Argo City and this Kryptonian culture, it looks different. It feels more comic booky because like I am over the crystals. Like I am very much over the crystals. Like I like the fact like it looked very futuristic. Not even futuristic. It looked timeless. Like something like you would think of from Superman the animated series in a lot of ways. From the bits and portions we did see of Krypton in that show. So like heck, like if they wanted to pull another Krypton as a do a prequel at some point as a drama, like I would love to see that. Because like I think there's so much we can explore with that, and plus I'm also bitter that sci-fi took Krypton away from us too soon. I don't know, like E. Ridley, like playing this kind of character is not easy. I think, especially
she could be so annoying.
It was Arya Stark.
Is that Maisie Williams' character on Game of Thrones?
Yes.
Okay, cool. I knew one thing. I know that. Red Wedding, Jon Snow somehow died, came back, and they're dragons.
You got the highlights.
All those highlights.
The Battle of the Bastards. Wait, you don't watch Game of Thrones?
No, I cannot. I will tell you.
That's why I wrote the House of Dragon review for Multiverse of Color.
No, Ben, I will tell you off air. Like once you hear it, you'll be like, "Oh, I understand why." Because there's like a serious reason to it, but I don't want to talk about it on there.
Okay.
Eve, I love that she wasn't just the damsel in distress. You know, again, like I know in the book, like she can be, you know, like a divisive character, but like I generally throughout the whole film like enjoyed it because she felt like, you know, like she reacted like the way a kid would, someone who's lost their parents. Like, yeah, like a kid is gonna naturally want to first think that like I need to get revenge, I need to slaughter him, I need to kill him. Like, and that's why I love that Kara was so like clear on the fact like if you do this won't heal you the way you think it will. You know, we'll talk about the ending and the changes from the book. I was like, one of the things that this movie, I feel like again, like Supergirl was already filming, I think, before Superman even came out. The cinematography in this film is what I wanted for Superman. There's a lot of times in Superman that I'm like, I don't know about this, but in this, like, and maybe it's because it's a space western that they had the opportunity to kind of play around with dark lighting and kind of like being around in space and the kind of different color aesthetics that comes with, you know, from different planets. I'm like, this is so much prettier to look at. That's why I'm so excited for Clayface, because that cinematographer did also Clayface. So I'm excited to see that. Yes, Kyle, I will get to you in a second. And yes, of course, I mean, Jason Momoa isn't playing Lobo; he is Lobo. Like I don't know what to say. Listen, I enjoyed him as Aquaman. Like, it was great, it was fun, but I'm glad now that he didn't get cast as Lobo in the DCU, so that we could have had this, because I don't think Lobo would have been handled right. You know, because again, we know that Jason is a super fan of Lobo. Like, he's like probably the biggest Lobo fan on the planet, and it was again. What was so fun with it wasn't like seeing him just put on a costume and just like playing Lobo. He was like, the makeup was great, the costume was great, it felt natural, his Lobo voice, like, and even because I didn't watch an interview with Jason, I'm kind of like, okay, he actually did like change his voice a little bit. There's a little of a swagger there that we don't hear with Jason in real life. So yeah, because that was because a lot of people were, pissed that they were adding Lobo to this because he's not in the comic, but I'm like, he was there for where he needed to be. He didn't overshadow anything. Like, he got to have his, big funny moment. His exchange with Rufy, but he never felt like he was like, oh my god, this is the Lobo movie featuring special guest star Supergirl. So give me an HBO show or a movie with him. I'm ready to see more of him as Lobo. And again, I think the fight scenes again, like, as there's been a lot of debate about who's the stronger one, Superman or Supergirl, and there's a lot of cases for, there's a lot of reasons for why Supergirl is the stronger one, and also because I think that intellectual wise, I think she fights smarter than he does. That's not to say that he's just like a brute, just like throwing punches, but it's like I don't know if it's that she had some sort of military training growing up on Krypton, like kind of like or like if she was in a position where like she was like there was a purpose for her, but from her parents to be like we want you to have these skills. This game, we were gonna say something.
Yeah, that was my question. I was interested to know if she had like fight training or anything like that, especially when she was
very well choreographed.
Like when she like did the thing on the tusk and knocked the guy off, and my friend was like, I didn't think she had powers here, and I was like, no, I guess that's just skill and momentum, but no average person can do that.
I mean, I love when she was like,
speak for yourself, buddy.
Oh,
I just, again, it was fun. Like, the fight scenes were fun. I like the bus, like the one on the bus, like with the teleporting thing. I'm like, this is so goofy, but I love it. But I think it might be worth now going to some of the criticisms. And I know that some of us, we will talk about some things that are a little bit heavy, so I just want to give people a little bit of heads up that there will be some serious themes discussed. But there's some things of this film didn't work, and it can be related to the fact that it wasn't a full adaptation of the comic. It can be the fact that I've seen a rumor online. I don't know if this is true, and I don't know if it's scooper culture going wild again, but like it's supposedly that 25 minutes were cut from this film or something. I don't know. I guess because one thing maybe you can speak to this, Allison, because something that some of you guys may not know is that Allison here visited the Supergirl set last year for ScreenRant. You can read her set report on ScreenRant right now. But when you were there, and from what they were working on and shooting, was there the things that you saw there? Did it end up in the film, or like was there something that actually like we may have lost? Because if it's true that there were 25 minutes that were lost.
So as far as I can see, everything I saw there made it into the film to an extent, but I think if I had to guess, there was more on Krypton, because there were details to the sets that were not visible in the final movie. For example, one of the places we went was the temple where they had Alora's funeral, and there were these big, huge golden doors, and it had it wasn't quite hieroglyphics, but it was essentially like a gilded, embossed door, and it had Ra, the sun god from Krypton on it.
Mm-hmm.
And while they showed the funeral procession very briefly, her meeting Crypto, which was actually the scene I watched be filmed, it's a lot cuter when you see the dog than when you see the guy holding the little ball. But some of that stuff, I think the original version of the film probably spent more time on. As far as things I saw that didn't make it to screen, I think some of the aesthetics were a little bit different as of filming in April 2025 compared to release after post-production. For example, all of the concept art was a lot more colorful and matched the visual vibe of the comic more. Now, whether that's something that they decided in post not to do, or whether it wasn't practical, they did a lot of their filming actually outside, so that could have been a factor too. But for example, it was in the concept art much more apparent that there's a red sun. The sky was a different color and things like that didn't quite make it into the movie. And that could also just be a practical thing. Could also be that they were trying to avoid, and Andy's going to hate that I'm about to say this, looking like Smallville season 10, where it's they just have an orange filter all over everything.
Yeah.
I can't be mad about it because, by the 10th season, the budget was
well, and it was the CW in 2010, 2011, not exactly a fair comparison, but they could be trying to avoid some of the aesthetic pitfalls that come from being a little overly ambitious. I heard myself. Did somebody unmute their speaker?
I clicked the link accidentally and opened YouTube.
Oh, so you're just watching me? Okay.
No, he's watching himself. He's just oh, look how great I look. I'm kidding. But Allison, let me if you don't going off of that. Yeah. And like I said, for people who want to check it out, her set report is live on ScreenRant. It's an amazing read, and I mean, of course, a little jealous, but she did a great job, and I am so glad she got to do it. But Allison, for you, what were some things that didn't work for you with Supergirl? From someone who's both read the comic, someone who has a lot of the Kryptonian DC attachment to, what didn't work?
Okay, I'm gonna start with the non-heavy stuff and then save the heavy stuff for the end of this little spiel. As far as things that didn't quite work for me, I'm actually somebody that thinks they didn't push it hard enough with not specifically the color grading, because it seemed that they were trying to go for a specific mood. And while that didn't necessarily land for me, I can respect it. But I think they didn't go wacky enough with some of the settings. A lot of it didn't feel particularly alien, other than when we had people in prosthetics on screen and a little Seth Rogen alien, and that kind of stuff. So I think they could have pushed to differentiate it a little bit more. And there were some moments where they did, like when they showed the outside of the rest stop, and it looked almost exactly like the panel in the comic. That was really cool. Yeah. But I think it could have stood to be a little bit more visually distinct. That being said, I do think comparison can be the theft of joy sometimes, because having read the comic and seen the art, I find myself wishing that more of that had made it to screen. And I think having seen that there was a stage in the planning of the film that was the plan kind of bums me out. But I don't think what made it onto the screen was bad. I think it just lost in translation some of what made the comic so visually appealing, and that was a major aspect of why Woman of Tomorrow was as good a read as it was. It's also pretty. So that aside, I have mixed feelings actually on the writing to bring Lobo into the
They
story.
could be trying to avoid some of the aesthetic pitfalls.
Keenan.
But I think the word shoehorning comes to mind, and I say this as somebody who actually really enjoyed his presence in the movie. And the part where he and Ruthie talk, I agree with everybody here that was great. However, I think it was kind of a weak first introduction to the character, if only because, okay, they introduce him, his code, he's after one of the brigands, okay, but then he gets defeated the first time we see him. He, beyond helping, I don't know. The thing is, we have to keep Lobo in the story, so he has to get defeated to stay in the story so that he's with the brigands, but that, I don't know, it's kind of awkward storytelling to me and awkward characterization in terms of power scaling. It's a little bit hard to believe that this is somebody that can fight Superman. And that's where I have a little bit of an issue with the way that they depicted him, the way he was brought into the story, and the way that they kept him there. So yeah, overall, I enjoy Lobo. It's just whomever takes it from here is going to have a task, making him seem like he would be formidable enough to go against Superman, if that happens. And then the ending is something where I see both sides. A lot of people really like that she chose to be different than Superman and kill Krim. I think that is good in terms of differentiating her from Superman, but it's bad in terms of confusing the moral that she was conveying to Ruthie. Because she stops Ruthie from committing a revenge act herself, but then isn't it technically a revenge act for Kara to kill Krim too? So I think it's not a terrible change. It just muddies things a little bit. Now, that being said, that's a matter of opinion. A lot of people do like the change, and I think differentiating her and Clark may be more important than getting that don't take revenge message pitch perfect. So to each his own. Now, here's where we have to get into everybody's least favorite part, and this is also where things are going to take a little bit of a heavy turn. Krim is a problem. Firstly, I think his redesign kind of overshadows what they could have done with the character, because I think just a regular dude who is really menacing can be just as good a villain as somebody with all those facial piercings and the rat tail really wanted to cut off the whole movie. So that was a problem. And then I don't think that the actor's performance did anything to make Krim particularly intimidating a lot of the time. There was a lot of and shrugging and things like that, where it's like, okay, I think maybe he was trying to play it as this guy doesn't care about human life. He doesn't care about the bad things that he's doing, and so he's flippant about it. But that didn't translate to him being particularly intimidating. And then, all right, we're going to go there. The essay implications that were added to the story that were not in the comic irk me, because it's a similar thing that we dealt with Black Widow, except that made sense that there was going to be human trafficking in that plot, because that is part of Black Widow's background.
Right.
Here, it narrows the focus of what female heroes can be up against. Does it have to always be SA or exploitation or trauma for female heroes? Would they have made this change if Superman were the protagonist of this movie? or did it happen because it was a female hero? And that being said, I am well aware that the writer of this movie was a woman, and it still bothers me because I think specifically in superhero media, we see a lot of this kind of exploitation. And it's not always of a sexual nature, though there is, of course, the human trafficking in Black Widow. There's Jessica Jones and Kilgrave. And then in a less exploitative but still traumatic way, there's Captain Marvel having lost her memories. Like, there's a lot there's a lot of weight that can be placed on the sort of stories that females can be the hero in. And I think having this guy just be a murderer who shot her dog is enough motive. The point has been brought up to me that maybe this storyline was added to make him more hateable. I think shooting a dog and poisoning him is hateable enough.
It worked in John Wick.
Yeah.
Exactly. It worked in Superman. There's the part where Eve is talking to Jimmy Olsen and she's like, Lex kicked a dog. And he just goes, Jesus Christ. Like, that's enough. So perhaps this is more of a girl problem, but it bothers me that there has to be this element brought in to a story with a female lead. And I really do struggle to think that this would have been added if it weren't a female protagonist. And it also made me viscerally uncomfortable at some points in the movie. For example, like, what if Kara did die on that planet and Ruthie was just in the brigand ship? What would have happened to Ruthie? It's pretty obvious. So some of that stuff is just so uncomfortable and adds a level of peril that doesn't need to be there. And one of Andy and I's coworkers at ScreenRant wrote an article about the fact that she took her 12-year-old daughter to see this movie not knowing that content was going to be in there. And so it's hard because an empowering story with a female lead does not have to be overcoming SA-related trauma and that sort of stuff. We also did not have to see a trafficking victim watch her parents get murdered in the street and then be murdered.
And get murdered too. Yeah.
That I don't know. It felt in some ways insensitive and a little senseless. It was not necessary for the story to have that element. He could have just been an evil guy.
Would you have feel the same way? Because I'm thinking about the writer, because Noriega wrote the script, and you would think that she will be a little bit more self-aware about all those things.
It makes the movie worse.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at. Do you think that it's worse that a female actually went there and kept all those elements in the film?
I should specify. Sorry, fair. Allison. My thing was, I was agreeing with what you were saying. Like, it feels like an unnecessary complexity to your exact point that has become a trope that it made absolutely no sense to me to have that be included in the story. And like, I mean, maybe we'll talk about it later, but like James Gunn saying the scripts were always have to be ready. Like, is this the first time where you're like, but like, this feels like edgier James Gunn that would never have been hired by Marvel. Like, it's those are the elements that make this feel like it's trying to do something, yet if ignoring the comic more has been the downfall of like what doesn't work in the movie.
So
go on, Allison.
Ben's question, I wanted to say, I don't know that it's necessarily fair to say that it would be worse coming from a woman, because I don't know her life. I don't know her experiences. This could have come from something personal to her. This could have been a story she wanted to tell. And I don't think it would be fair of me to disparage that.
Fair.
So while I think that it was a poor story decision, I can't call out another woman for adding that because she could have done that for any number of reasons.
Sure.
And I don't know that it would have been trying to be edgy. It could be that this is a very personal topic to her.
Fair.
I know that. Oh, sorry, Keenan, go on.
I was just saying, it also makes me wonder, just like, who looks at these before it gets to a certain point. So I tell this story a lot. So I used to do marketing in a clinic system, and there was an ad that went out before I started working there. It was a plastic surgery ad that read, "Make him fall in love with you all over again." And that ad was approved by all white women. And the few men that saw it, that I asked about it, when I found out about it, they were like, I didn't feel comfortable saying I don't think this is okay. And I was like, you should always feel comfortable saying that, because that was not okay. And they got a lot of flack for it. And so it makes me wonder, when people are looking at things, this is the importance of DEI, because you want other people to be able to look at things. But that's just my thought on that.
Well, maybe the one that respect, because like Allison said, maybe when she tried to tell that story, she was speaking from a personal place, and they might be aware of those things, and then they don't want to be pushed back on those things that are so important to the writer. So it's really difficult to, from here, make that assumption that that it was the wrong choices to make to keep those elements in the film.
That's fair.
I know that Benjamin has to get going soon, so I'm gonna let him speak first, so he can. Because it's he's in England, it's late, so I totally get it, and we're happy that you're here, Ben. So we appreciate you being here and sharing your thoughts. When it came to things that didn't work with this film, you alluded to it at the beginning about it not being full like the comic and stuff like that. What were some things that in the end didn't work for you, but even though I know you did enjoy the film quite a lot, but what were some things that just kind of fell flat?
I think some of the writing, like just the dialogue, occasionally was just a bit too like on the nose, or like a bit like a few one-liners and stuff, and just like the way, like I mentioned, Rufy was kind of written, like it just seemed a bit, or maybe it's the direction, I don't know. It's one or the other. It just like, it seemed a bit forced. It seemed a bit like not natural, like I felt like everything with Kara was so natural. It was like flowing out of her, like it was just fully embodying what they wanted. And just there was just a few lines I was like, just kind of takes me out the film a little bit. But yeah, like I like Rufy. She was cool in the comics, and I think this version's interesting, but a bit different from what I expected, I guess. And Krem, the design, I don't see the point. Like he's trying to just forcibly make it more intimidating, but he just looks like he's in a fucking gimp suit. Like, I'm sorry, like like when he first comes in, you see the mask, I'm like, that's the guy from Pulp Fiction, so I don't know. I think that was a bit unnecessary. But yeah, I think in general, like I try not to pay too much attention to what people say online and stuff. Like if I enjoy the film, I enjoy the film, and like, so many people have asked me like, what do you think? Like, what do you think of all the reactions and stuff? And I'm like, I don't get, like, people can say what they want to say. Like, let's enjoy the film if we enjoy the film, and if we like the characters, if we like Supergirl, like, she's a exciting character. I'm really happy that DCU is actually going into Supergirl, and I think for me, like, it was just nice to see Supergirl being different from Superman, but also setting up like the potential for Man of Tomorrow. I think that's exciting for me. I'm thinking like, okay, like what if Supergirl and Superman are facing off against Brainiac? Are we going to get a moment where like Superman is like holding Kara back. You know, like that could be a thing. And yeah, that got me excited. Like, but yeah, negatives. Online reactions always going to be like that. Like I knew that going in. I think we all knew these online like fucking incels. Oh, they're never gonna like a female-led superhero film.
Yeah.
Like Wonder Woman was amazing. Like, but they're never gonna love it because they already have their ideas in their head already, and they're gonna spread that around. I think also the like Rotten Tomatoes score is not great, obviously, but it's still better than a lot of the past DC films. So it's not like the worst. It's not the end of the world kind of thing. And a lot of people like it. You shouldn't just listen to just film critics, you know? Like, if you enjoy the film, enjoy the film. You don't have to feel bad about enjoying it if some people disagree with you, you know?
To Ben's point, because it was funny because like when I brought up the comic to show my friend, I'm like, can you guess what he looked like in the comic? My friend had no idea. So I turned like to the page and I'm like, here's what Krem looked like. And he's like, so why didn't they do that? I'm like, I don't know.
It's like wild ginger Oliver Queen or something.
No, but you know what's hilarious? There is one of the Bridgens that was, you know, like in like the extras. There is one who has like the ginger red hair and like the beard, and I'm kind of like, this is goofy as fuck. The fact that they have someone that looks exactly like in the comic, but it's the other actor who got it because and I really tried. I'm like, I'm gonna like give this villain a chance, but like every time he was on screen with those freaking, I'm like, I can't.
So gross to look at.
It's yeah. But Benjamin, is there anything else you want to share about Supergirl before you sign off and get some well-deserved rest?
No, I mean I'm just happy to see Supergirl. You know, I'm a big Supergirl fan. I love the TV show. I liked Sasha's Supergirl in The Flash. She was definitely the best thing in that film. Supergirl is cool in the comics, obviously, and Smallville, and yeah, like it's just nice to see Supergirl being a part of this new universe. So yeah, happy to see it, and you know, it's good that she's getting a bit more well known because I think it's a cool character. So yeah.
Well, Ben, thank you for joining. Benjamin, thank you for joining us. I'm not letting go of that, or Ben, he's staying. Benjamin, thank you for joining us tonight. We will see you on the next one.
Cool. All right, nice to meet you guys, and thanks to everyone who's tuned in. All right, see you later.
Bye, Ben.
Good night, Ben.
Bye.
This is what, just before I continue, like letting everyone else share, like this is what film criticism needs to look like, because it's gone to a point where everyone is more interested in shouting matches, personal attacks, not wanting to hear each other out, because again, like I will admit this. When I chatted with Allison a little earlier this week, I hadn't seen the film yet, but when she pointed out to me some of these themes, and I'm like, she's right. So when I saw it, and I'm like, this is not good. This is an issue because how do I say this? We know trafficking is a very, very real thing. I say, thousands of people who commit these crimes, they walk free every year. Justice is never served. Does it belong in a superhero movie? I think it can, but that it's always the female superheroes' responsibility to have to tackle those themes. It raises two problems. One, it paints the idea that in order for trafficking in SA to stop, it's all the women are the ones who have to stop it. And the second problem it creates is that it makes it so that it's almost like telling men all over the world, like, this is not your problem to fix. And that's a fucking problem, because in a world where we live, where red pill dudes, Andrew Tate, America's president, etc., exist. Like these are real issues. But was it the wisest choice to add to this film? I don't think it was. I did pull up because there was a quote I'd read from Anna for the Entertainment Weekly. I can put it in the chat so everyone can check it out. But because again, we don't know her story. As Allison pointed out, we don't know her backstory. We don't know why she wrote the way she wrote. But she mentioned something about this in Entertainment Weekly, and I quote. And it's about the the darker themes of the story. It's not in any surface way a movie about that, but it's a movie about these daughters. It's a movie about daughters who don't have their parents and who are left on their own to navigate a vicious world without the direct guidance of their parents. I have a daughter. I don't know if I could have written this exact movie without having had her. And given how, again, like I said, this is these are ongoing problems in the real world. People, the powers that be, could change the laws that could help stop this more. They're not doing anything. They either are bribed, greeted by money, they turn they just close their eyes and turn their heads that away. So, in my case, when it comes to, because we were talking about the whole Kara killing Krem. I was like, men like Krem do not deserve to live. Like, I like that this was a change they made. I stand, as much gripe as I have with the Snyder fandom, like, I still stand by one of the best things the man still ever did was having Superman kill General Zod, because that man didn't give two shits. He was gonna kill anyone in anything because he wanted to personally get revenge on Superman. And and I think that what Kara did here, I'm like, and again, I don't think this is something that you're just like, she did it and we're never gonna talk about it again. No, I think there will be moments in the future to DC where she's gonna have to address this. She's gonna have to deal with this for herself. Do I think she's gonna start she's gonna be like the killing Kryptonian hero? No. I think this is something they're gonna build up upon. And because for me, I'm someone who watch a lot of television, and I always have to remember that each season is meant to develop and further a character's progression. They're not supposed to start out a pilot should never have a character start out being perfect, knowing all the right things to do. They need to do mistakes. They need to be not know how to go the right way. And that's the same with Carla. Wherever we see her next, when it's Man of Tomorrow or this other project now that they're teasing that she's have a big role in. Let's see how this plays out. People, some people have already written this movie off for many, many reasons. But one of the reasons they're like, oh, she's gonna, this is the expectation we should have for Supergirl now. She kills people, Superman does not. I'm like, no, it's not that simple. It's not that black and white. Ben, what were you gonna say?
Well, I was gonna say that I agree with you that I liked her that she got her hands dirty, but the way that it was executed, it feels like she doesn't have a problem doing this. And it is not the first time that she did it, because in comparison, you shed some light over the whole thing about Superman and General Zod. When Superman kills General Zod, he screamed in agony because he did something that is a rule that is not to be broken, and he knew. But this man, he had to kill him because he had a purpose. The purpose was to decimate the entire human race. And there's nothing more terrifying than a villain that has a purpose. And this guy was just a wild animal. And maybe his purpose was to go through the galaxy and do these things that he was doing. And maybe she did it because of that. That's what he represents. Let me kill this guy because he's going to continue to do it. But her reaction to it informed me that she doesn't have an issue with ending a life if this individual is going to continue to be a problem. And I think, Kyle, I don't know if somebody touched upon this earlier, where I think that might be addressed on Man of Tomorrow, where Superman is like, dude, you cannot go there. This is not what we do. This is the second time or third time that you do it, but this is not who we are. So maybe that probably needs to be addressed in the future, more so than showing that character development where she became this jaded individual who doesn't care about killing.
No, I agree. If they don't follow up on this, that's bad writing. Like,
Yeah.
if James doesn't follow through, that's on him. Like, that's not, like, in the end, like, Millie can give all the amazing performances in the world, but if James is not following through with his characters and letting them grow, and like he is just like, this is just like a loose thread that we're never going to deal with ever again, that's on him. That's his fault. And so I want to give him the benefit of the doubt, but at the same time, to your points of was it something that Anna and James and Craig like purposely like actively had discussions about, or was it just that no, let's have him kill him because this is how our Supergirl is? Because yes, I'll let you speak next, Kyle. I was going to say this again. Like, that's why I like some people might say he's just Andy is just given like he's just being a chill for Jim. No, I like to give any storyteller the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
That was my case. Like as someone who did 9 seasons of the Flash podcast covering the TV show, like I like by season 3, after season 3, like I God, like I was like, okay, like you all need to step it up, and like each season, like some of it improved, some of it did not, and like again, like I by season 9, like I brought up my issue. I'm saying like no, you all, like some of you guys fell through. You have had 9 years to develop these characters, and you're still reverting back to things that they should not be doing 9 years into a TV show. That's something they should be doing in season 1 or 2 or 3. So, but again, like I said, we haven't seen Man of Tomorrow yet. We haven't seen what they're doing next for Supergirl. So again, like, yeah, I think it's fair to have a wait and see approach. Yeah. Yes, Kyle, what were we going to say?
I've just been thinking a lot about what Allison said about the inclusion, and I mentioned this briefly, but what I find so fascinating, and obviously not to feed the unvalidated criticism that this movie's being levied, because like I looked into it just because it's fun, just randomly, like MCU projects and DCU or EU, just in terms of like Rotten Tomatoes, because unfortunately, as much as we want to ignore the amalgamation of film criticism, because that does nothing but benefit viewers, I'm just kidding, it does the opposite, because then you just get one consolidated opinion on if movie bad or movie good. Like, I think it's very funny because what so many of the people who are registered Rotten Tomatoes critics are doing, dunking on this, maybe they don't have the necessary brain cells to be aware that we can check their other review history. So like that to me is also hilarious, because I will, and Andy, I have another point and I will get to it, so apologies. But like,
good. Go for it.
Thor the Dark World, higher Rotten Tomatoes percentage. Are we joking? That is easily the worst MCU movie, maybe one of the worst. Thor, Love and Thunder. Like these, and then there's some other ones, but I do have something I want to talk about specifically with the comic, but I'd like to get Allison's opinion on this, because I do think it's relevant to what we've been talking about. I remember, and again, this is from my perspective and some of the opinions I got, but one of the things that shocked me about what they did with Age of Ultron was the way in which they portrayed Black Widow's history. And like, it felt completely tone deaf to what they were doing when it came to presenting a woman who was incapable of having children compared to Big Raging Green Monster, and like how tone deaf that felt at the time. I mean, very different things. And then obviously Black Widow's use of that story was much more, I would say, aware of its implications in terms of what they were doing. But I mean, quite frankly, I think Supergirl is a better movie. But what I am baffled by, and I think this would have served the movie better, and Allison, you've confirmed it yourself, is that like they were going for, like, my comic book's over there, I don't want to get up, but like a bunch of us have it present in front of us. What seems to be a part of the conversation, not specifically with Supergirl, but it can be included in that sentiment. And I know we've talked about, and I think there's some really good points about how the cinematography and the choice of color is used. Of course, we mentioned the green sun and the yellow sun, and that's maybe the most interesting. But Allison also did say, and I agree with her, like a lot of the time it's like we're in a different shack on a different planet, and you maybe have the volume outside of the shack they're walking into to illustrate different planet, right? We get a landing, and then they're very much so on a set. But like since I would say probably June of 2023, which when it ironically connecting to the Flash, when it really felt like average or below average, like the Flash, blockbusters were not going to be successful anymore. Because June of 2023 was Transformers Rise of the Beasts, Indiana Jones Dial of Destiny, a film I actually quite enjoy, and then we had the Flash, which like maybe pre-pandemic those things are successful. And what seems to be, and I find this interesting, especially given Gunn's experiences, that what the audiences is really looking for is things that feel solely unique and worth the film going experience. One of the main criticisms of the MCU has been the use or lack thereof of color. And I know from people in my own life who saw trailers for this and did think it looked like everything else. Not the fact that Millie Alcock and Supergirl were in that. I don't have, at least the people that I would talk to in my everyday knew she existed. That if you chose to maybe more adeptly adapt the comic, which this is maybe one of the first times it's been most adapted, like there's multiple different instances of things being brought in. Like I like the Ultimate Edition of Batman v Superman, and there are elements of different comics in that, like the Dark Knight Returns and that stories. There are other Batman stories, Zach. I don't know if you know that, but regardless of that, like it's the closest thing we've gotten to it. And I think where I struggle, and there's been so many excellent points about the addition of that story and the different experiences that writers bring to telling that story. I am not a mother of a daughter. I'm a father of the daughter. My experience is obviously different, but where my biggest issue is, I think the narrative inconsistency of what they're trying to go for with Kara and the back and forth with Ruth, and adding that other stuff that I think really does weigh it down. What I didn't like was they spent so much time giving us a backstory with Kara and who she is, and we understand at the beginning why she's like that. But in the way that she explains death, it doesn't sound like somebody who hasn't done it before, which narratively doesn't work. Like, again, none of us here are going to undercut this seriousness of what Krem is doing to be a villain, like in terms of what they've added with the SA and the wives and all that stuff. You can have Kara be different. I shouldn't be laughing. I'm sorry. Kara is clearly different than Clark in all the times we see them interact. And I think you can land Kara. I've been doing it too much. Kara killing Clark. Not Clark. Killing Krem. That'd be insane.
That escalated quickly.
Yeah, that'd be a Red Sun moment. The comic also really terrible.
Yeah, because Mark Millar cannot write.
Like, I'm on the side, as the both of you said, with Man of Steel. Sorry, Andy, I know this tangent's gone on for a long time. That I think I disagree with, I guess I can just say Ben, because the other one's gone. I hope he's sleeping. That that rule may not have existed for Clark until that, like after that moment. And Man of Steel, it's not called Superman, right? It is literally that version of Clark becoming Superman. Mm-hmm. And I'd be curious, and we'll hear about it maybe more later if they have more spoiler discussions. Like I said, with the costume, is the killing of Krem, and this maybe would have been, I think, more successfully if they wove this in, is Kara killing Krem, like her shedding some of the stuff she's been dealing with. But I don't know, because of the additions that I do think pull away from what could have made this succinctly something unlike things we've seen before.
So do you think that this was our first time killing? Because I don't think it was.
I don't think so either.
Okay, that's what I'm to make sure.
Well,
I thought the whole point was like, Ruthie, I don't want you to do that.
Yeah.
But I think there's elements of the films that were left on the table that that give you context on why she would go there and kill this individual. That's why it's still taking a lot of us by surprise that she went there and killed him.
No, I think she understands that some people gotta go.
Yeah, but also as a viewer, like I don't
Yeah.
think there was enough exposure to say, hey,
Like-
she's going through this journey, but there's
Mhm.
these key points that will that will inform the viewer that she will go there if she has to.
Like I think I think I understand what you're trying to say, Ben, is that because we were discussing earlier, Keenan, that there's a rumor going around that there was maybe 25 minutes cut from this film.
I believe there is.
Yeah.
The
Again, I could
was like
there was. I had many issues
so
with
many
editing.
issues with the editing, and that I was like, something's missing here.
Yeah,
Also, in a second, I did remember something from the set visit that is relevant, but please finish your thought first.
No.
Well, don't forget yours.
Yeah. No, you go first.
I'm not as old as Andy. I won't forget it.
Wait, I'm older than Andy. Never mind.
I kind of had a feeling that would be a quadruple shot. Sorry.
We need Ben. He's the child. We need Ben back.
What did you remember, Allison?
So, while this wasn't something that I saw being filmed, when I was at the prop department, one of the newspapers that did not make it in because they only show the one in the movie of Superman that Crypto pees on, one of the newspapers actually had Kara featured on the front, and it was completely different photos of her in the costume, and she was in Metropolis and she had a ponytail. So it's possible that was just photography they did for those props, but it's also possible there was footage that they did of her in Metropolis. Now, nothing I saw in terms of concept art or what they said hinted towards Metropolis scenes, but it's possible that was originally in the script.
Because the thing we see is she's
in
holding
Metropolis.
she's holding kittens in the picture, like with the ponytail, but that wasn't the front page. That was like what do you call
it was not
Like an insert.
insert.
It was a different action shot of her, but that could have all been filmed at the same time. That being said, the fact that there are multiple Metropolis images of her, some of which didn't make it into the movie, could mean that there's more footage. Now, whether that would be at the end or towards the beginning, if there was any shots of her being dissatisfied with being in Metropolis, that kind of thing could have been there. That being said, it's hard to guess. It's also possible there were more flashbacks with Superman or alternate explorations of her unhappiness with that relationship and with being on Earth. So
please don't start this. But I thought it was funny. I thought it was.
I mean, to be fair, her hair actually did kind of get in her face a lot during those fight scenes. So she might ought to have, ponytail it or do a
I both.
I like the hair. I like
yeah,
the hair.
yeah.
I'm just saying practicality was what ironically, even though I didn't love this movie, Birds of Prey understood that with the ponytail holder moment.
Yeah.
The scrunchie. Yes.
What I was gonna. Where was I going? No. So
You
one of the
tell us.
things we're talking about editing. We're talking about editing, because there were times when something clearly got control deleted here by accident. Because for example, at the moment when she is the bus scene, after she gets out of the spacesuit and she's like floating outside, almost kind of like here to step outside. Like I almost thought that was kind of instead of seeing like a big confrontation or whatever. She just carries the bus. We just cut to her carrying the bus back. They're just tied up. I'm just kind of like, wait, what just happened here? Like, I'm like, this
it
just
feels like there could have been an actual fight scene there that we didn't fully see.
The Ruth cut scene, like
Ruth
introduction,
scene.
felt like time immediately was cut out, right? Like she sees everybody die, and it's like this.
And then there's the funeral.
Yeah, it just
And
sort
it's
of
not even a funeral to her with them, but yeah.
Yeah, she's just standing outside. the next
Now-
day.
that was very choppy. I'm kind of like what just happened? Because like at first I felt like that I passed out the first time, but then when I saw it today, I'm like, no, like I actually no, like this is exactly how it played. Because I was like, no, because like I've been getting lightheaded lately, so like I felt like this was one of the times where like I got dizzy and I missed it. But no, I'm like, no, this was actually just how they edited it. And I'm like, why would they do that? So.
There's another scene with Lobo where, like, all of a sudden we see him prisoner, and I remember that my wife went to the ladies' room and came back, and she's like, "How did they catch him?" I'm like, "I don't know."
I don't know.
Well, that goes back to the power scaling issue, but
yeah, it's like,
I was
how
like,
do you
wait a
catch this
minute.
dude? Like she said, this is a dude that just decimated his entire race. He's immortal, and all of a sudden, this guy just catch him, put him in a jail. He can just like break through without even explaining that this
Am I naive for
metal.
thinking? Oh, sorry. Wait, one second. I was gonna say that. Am I naive for thinking that like, oh, he got caught on purpose? But I'm like, no, I don't. Am I just that naive?
I think if they were going to go with that, they should have made it more explicit.
Yes.
And part of why I say that is, and this is of course comparing DCU, but not the same writer, not the same director. I felt like it was fairly straightforward last year that Eve was purposefully documenting Lex's stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Even though it was, of course, the sexy selfies and all of that, but she knew what she was doing.
Yeah.
And even though she doesn't say that, it still comes through. And I think that would be a gap in the writing, mostly. If Lobo was getting caught on purpose, then we needed to know that Lobo was getting caught on purpose.
On purpose, yep.
And I think that could solve the plot hole, but the movie in its current state does not say that. So
yeah.
Well, I thought that's what the whole setting a trap, the hunter sets a trap line was about. Did I misread that?
I didn't get that from it, but it's possible that I missed some subtext there. It's also possible that was meant to mean that, but if multiple people didn't get it, then maybe we needed to
go by fast. It does go by very. It's a very fast scene. That's like.
Because the first time I saw it, I was like, wow, how? And then, so the second time I'm watching it, when Ruthie goes to the cage, I don't know if she puts the key in before he kicks the door open.
It looked like she put in the key and then she like twisted it. And then
the key in, right?
I saw the key. I saw the key go in. And then like she twisted it a little bit. And then suddenly he just kicks it.
We're all avoiding the best Lobo moment, which is when he actually finally says Bastitch.
Yeah,
I was waiting the entire movie for some actual Lobo-ese, and they made me wait like an hour and 40 minutes.
Well, because this is not Lobo's movie, Kyle. This is Supergirl's movie.
He didn't even call himself the main man.
They'll show space dolphins and everything in the sequel. I promise.
Also, the name of his introduction.
Himself the main man. We all knew.
Yeah, that's true. I think what's hilarious about Jason Momoa having played Aquaman, like my wife was like, he's playing someone else. I'm like, yes. Jason Momoa was genetically created to play Lobo. Like there's the best scene I actually think with him is when we finally get to see like the red contact lenses in and really seeing and whatever muscle suit they designed for him. Like he's Superman the animated series wide. Like
I beg your pardon. What do you mean?
I think
it's just
his clothes are. So I actually have seen and touched the Lobo outfit. His jacket is padded, not with him in it, Andy.
I didn't say anything. You did.
I saw your face.
I'm just smiling.
It was on a mannequin, and they did have to make a custom one because he's too big for them to use even a standard like 6'5" mannequin. Like they had to actually build it out and make a mold. Anyway, the shoulders are padded on the jacket, but the vest and everything, no padding. So he is actually just that big.
Really?
Big guy.
Andy?
I'm 4'11". So I feel like that's necessary context as to why he seems so massive to me in particular, because he is like over 1.5 feet taller than me. So, well, not over 1.5 feet, but with the boots on, he would be. So
Oh yeah, I think there were definitely boots that made them taller.
there were
but,
lifts,
like,
but they were platforms. So
yeah, but they didn't feel like it definitely didn't feel like I was like watching Jason like having to get on like apple boxes or stills. I'm like no, that's just how, like that's he is that tall. But
Would
so,
probably boost him to about 7 feet, and he's already 6'4", 6'5". So
yeah, but yeah, like Kyle, like there's no way that there was a muscle suit. Like that's like, that's why everyone one reason why everyone wanted him as
natural.
oh my god, that
all
reminds me
natural.
of the Adam West quote from a show that Andy and I hate, The Big Bang Theory, where he's in the car with I think it's Sheldon.
Oh, he's talking about the other Batman.
Yeah. His costume, and he was making fun of Christian Bale for the padding, and he said, "Not me. This is 100% grade A West."
He did the exact same thing on Family Guy. This is all pure West.
Oh my god.
I hate Chuck Lorre. What I was gonna, I'm definitely curious to see like when the Blu-ray comes out, if there are deleted scenes. Because at least on Superman they like release some stuff. I think like for example, like one of the frustrating parts, like I remember like with Man of Steel, I'm like they didn't release any of the deleted stuff. Then I'm like, but like what did we miss? So at least with Superman they did, and hopefully they will do it with Supergirl as well, because now that you mentioned there was like a whole different newspaper with Kara like at the front and like like a different story. I'm wondering like.
Well, and it could be just that they took those extra photos for the prop. So I mean, it could be nothing, could be something. There was no evidence in the concept art that they had filmed other scenes, but doesn't mean they didn't.
Yeah.
And also they were putting that out for us to see if they may have already figured out at that point that they weren't going to use that. So why would they put that out for us to see it? So I don't know. Could be something, could be nothing.
Oh
yeah. Yes.
No, I was thought of something that I wanted to get everyone's opinion on. How did you feel about the needle drops?
Didn't like it.
Okay, I'm glad I wasn't alone.
They didn't hit.
No.
Where was Call Me? Like, you spent 2 trailers.
I don't even like the blood.
That, or even What Becomes of the Broken Hearted was a great choice for.
Yes.
For the
I
trailer.
really thought that was gonna come in there at some point.
Well,
that
in the
was perfect.
first footage I saw during the set visit, they used a female cover of "Creep" by Radiohead, and that would also work.
Creep?
Footage.
That would have been
Like something
great.
like that would have been well suited.
Yes.
to Kara. So I don't know. And I like the middle, but it didn't really work here.
Not a fan of needle drops. I don't think anybody is.
I mean, I don't. I'm not.
It depends on the song.
Yeah, I don't love them. I can enjoy them, but I don't think it's like
It's
must
a James
have a needle
Gunn
drop.
crutch.
It is.
Well,
It is.
I think some of his are really good and some of them aren't. I appreciate the restraint he had in Superman to really only do two needle drops.
Yeah.
And he actually made them count.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Fun was one of them. What's the other one?
Wait, Mr. Terrific. What was the other one?
Punk Rocker at the end.
Punk
Rocker. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Oh,
yes.
okay.
Yes.
And I would consider that a needle drop, even though it's kind of non-diegetic.
Yeah, I don't think it is. It's like send off.
You know what's interesting to me? Because I just realized Supergirl is the movie that for some reason went through not one, but 3 different composers. I wonder if this is the reason why we had a weak song in that moment. Because like I remember like when me and my friend came out, we talked about what we liked and we didn't like, and he was kind of like, "Anyway, why was that song there?" I'm still trying to figure that out after a second view, and like it didn't really click for me.
I think part of it, and part of why it sticks out, is the comparison of something like Superman, where the music was a little bit more woven in. I would not be surprised if Craig Gillespie did not necessarily pick the songs himself.
He did it. James said he picked it. That came out today.
Crap.
Okay. So it just doesn't quite work the same way. But I know from years ago, following James Gunn on Facebook, where he used to do his videos where he would update you on his writing progress. And this was back when he was working on Guardians Volume 3 before the thing that we don't talk about that happened for a couple years there. And Yeah, so he said he puts the songs on the page when he is writing. And I think that kind of difference shows when you're just putting songs in that don't quite fit. A much, 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 much worse movie comes to mind, 2016 Suicide Squad, where again, the needle drops didn't fully fit. Like Spirit in the Sky playing when they're on the plane didn't really make sense. And to be fair, it was hurt by the comparison that the same song had been used in Guardians of the Galaxy in a better way. But,
It's actually not in the movie. It was only in the trailer.
The trailer,
it plays
yeah.
in the credits. of the
okay,
film.
yeah. Yeah, that makes more sense.
Somewhere out there, someone
it's
from the
still
Erica
already
movement is
associated.
screaming, "Release the Erica!" You know, like somewhere because they hear it, like release it. I'm like, I think
Well,
that
but
again, like yes,
It was just to your point that I think
Hmm.
something that I was critical of for the trailers for Superman was that obviously they were leaning into the John Williams score because there's only ever been one Superman theme. But I'm obviously saying that in jest. But then the use of it in the film was really great. Like, yes, okay, you're leaning into the nostalgia, but I'm forgetting his name now. I'm gonna John Murphy and Dave Fleming. Like what they did with it, I thought really did work. And like we talked about this yesterday, Andy. I think it should have been called Superman Legacy. Like what they're doing, really reigniting what people think of who that character is. I couldn't tell you what the Supergirl score is. Like, what is her theme?
Nope.
Well, they didn't commit to it. Even in that last fight, like she goes into it with score, and they're like, "Oh no, we're gonna play this song now."
Yeah.
Like,
And I'm old enough to remember when the middle was in like every teen drama of the early 2000s, and
yes. I'm like,
Did it make it into Smallville? Because that would be ironic.
of course.
I
yeah.
guess
wouldn't be
Smallville,
surprised.
remember, Andy, Smallville had a lot more licensed music in like the first season than it did subsequently.
season
The
one.
music budget kind of got cut down later.
Yeah, I mean, I still think it's funny as hell that they still like got away with using the Williams theme in season 3. Because like by season 10, I understood why they could use it, but like in season 3, I'm like, y'all are really testing.
No, that's
Whatever.
disrespectful to Christopher Reeve. If they're gonna show him, they can use the score, Andy.
but initially, apparently they didn't have the rights to use that. So
That
like
doesn't
that,
surprise
yeah. But I thought it was like like I mean, listen, like Alcock and Miles Miller, like they were they were lovely troublemakers, like clearly, and like again, I do not follow them at all. But I thought it was funny that when they actually like needed a theme, when Christopher Reeve was on, they were like, we didn't have permission, but we're just gonna sneak it in there anyway.
To answer
Lobo's
Allison's
theme
question,
had more time than hers.
yes, it did. Episode 18, season 1, Drone uses the song "The Middle."
Oh my gosh, it was season 1, like I said, with the music licensing. Like episode 2 opens with Papa Roach, and that's the one with the bug guy.
The amount of shit I've gone over the years for being a Papa Roach fan, I'm like, but they have such good songs.
Songs S with a S plural.
I can only make do by them, Andy.
Aren't they
songs,
Last
ours.
Resort? Isn't that it? That's it.
That one
right?
and Scars.
Don't know it.
I don't know.
You might know it if you heard it, but
Fair. That's fair.
Do we want to talk about any other? Because I know
I have a question.
I do. I
Yes.
didn't get a chance to say this earlier.
Oh.
I do
Okay,
want to
sorry.
say that there was too much Earth going on. I understand that, like, why were they singing "The Girl from Ipanema" in this random like bar in Bilky?
yeah.
What do you, wait? What do you mean there was too much Earth?
Like,
we only had flashbacks
culturally.
and then
Culturally, it
Oh.
felt
Yes. That. Thank you. I was speaking in Keenanese. And then
I
she's
was
like,
just dumb. I didn't understand. Like,
and then she's like,
understood.
"Oh, it's like the Titanic," and then she starts singing "Heaven," and I'm like, okay,
yeah.
you know, in space, that's what you got. Like, I love "Girl from Ipanema." I love the song, but it's like,
I get what you mean because it makes everything feel smaller. And, it could make sense that maybe some Earth culture could have spread, but even then, not really. Because, I don't know.
When did Kara watch Titanic?
Well, I mean, she was supposed to have been on Earth for years at that point, so she could have watched it.
yeah, I would have loved the time.
but also, why was that like one of the first films she ever saw? Like, I'm like,
Do you
Clark,
think
like,
that Clark wouldn't watch Titanic
Clark loves
Yeah, he
Titanic.
would
I'm
love
going to go
that.
ahead and call that right
I
now.
I bet
Titanic
he,
in
He
the
would love
Notebook,
that
his
one.
shit.
You know he
Chocolat.
cries when he hears "My Heart Will Go On."
I bet
Canadian
I bet-
legend,
I
Celine
know-
Dion.
I bet I know that Clark is one of those people who he likely fights with Lois about but he could have fitted on the door.
Lois hates Titanic. I'm going to go ahead and say that too.
Yeah,
Lois
I-
loves
Actually,
Billy
yeah,
Zane
that's
in
my
Titanic.
fan canon. They argue so much over movie night because he just wants to watch Titanic every time.
Yeah. No, I bet that Clark is one of those but Lois, he could have fitted on the door. Rose is why didn't she help him? And Lois will be like, you know what, Clark, I don't even give two fucks about this movie. What were you gonna ask, Ben?
Oh, do you guys think that? Because the whole, I feel calling the film Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow and constantly emphasize that it's based on the Tom King novel, et cetera, et cetera. Do you think that was a mistake? Instead of, could have they just name it, titled it Supergirl, and then in passing say, yeah, we took inspiration on the graphic novel by Tom King? Because we have this entire live stream, we have made many points of all the things that they got wrong on the film that could have worked better if they go full on with whatever source material they had from the comic book run. So in also the marketing they just went full on Woman of Tomorrow. This is I get it, because they did something similar with Superman. Was Superman All-Star, I think that was they took inspiration, but they didn't just every marketing, everything was associated with that comic book run. They just in passing say, yeah, we took inspiration on some of this comic books, specifically Superman All-Star. But do you guys feel like they should have laid,
So,
I think it was a pro and a con, because as a comic book reader, we've wanted the people making the movies to be like, hey, you only have these stories because of the terribly paid comic book writers and artists. Like, how, Allison, Andy, how many times do you hear about a comic book creator not being invited to a premiere of a film inspired by all their stuff? Marvel, I'm looking at you.
Hi, Kevin Feige.
And the pro, I would say, in doing that is, I remember Hugh Jackman going, "Old Man Logan," and people being like, "Woo!" And then you see the movie, and it's not really Old Man Logan, but what James Mangold and everybody involved with that were able to do was deliver, I'm going to say my opinion, the best movie with Wolverine in it, because it's not really an X-Men movie. The disadvantage here, I think, is levied based on our criticisms, because the story in Woman of Tomorrow, I'll speak for myself, is better executed. Again, you have 12 issues to tell the story, but whatever changes were made to this, I think I would be speaking collectively for the six of us, they didn't make this better.
No.
So that's the thing. I want the studio talking about what inspired their work, because that's where the work comes from. It was amazing when they announced all this stuff. I've got a local comic book shop. I'm excited to take my kids there next week because they got A's and they want free comics to read. That's one of the programs they run at my comic book store. They didn't Woman of Tomorrow was off the shelves. Marvel, I'm going to shout at you again too, because I happen to have been one of the people who got to see Daredevil Born Again early, but you couldn't find any of the Charles Soule run that inspired both seasons of that show, because they were out of print until they repackaged them this previous March in $30 small mass trade paperbacks, which did include that story. The Chip Zdarsky run, which they've also taken stuff from, that's always been in print. But DC actually going, hey, Tom King, and I'm forgetting the artist off the top of my head.
Who, by the way, the planet was named after Billy Quist.
The town was also.
Yeah.
Because the town was Ely. So
that was
so
cool.
Oh, I love that.
If it didn't work in their favor because of, I'll call them choices with the film, but if it looked like it, you can change something if you make it better. The Spider-Verse films, they're not really pulling from anything directly.
No.
but they're the Spider-Verse films, right? Like, I don't know
Mhm.
many people, at least in my world, that are gonna go, well, you know, this isn't like the Spider-Verse comic that came out in 2016.
I think
But they don't
to
make such
answer
an
Ben's-
emphasis whenever they're promoting those films, though.
Yeah, I will say that I think that it was definitely. I think it was definitely a mistake to call it that. We're, it's a adaptation or loose adaptation. I think that inspired by is the better term they need to go with from here on out, because we realized that once they took off Woman of Tomorrow from the title, I think we all kind of knew, like, it's not only because they removed Legacy from Superman Legacy, because for whatever reason James doesn't like semicolons and subtitles, but we knew like something is going on here that they removed that. So I think that, again, because there's a lot of things they changed from the book that I'm like, I'm not angry about it, but I'm confused about it. There are things that they changed from the comic that I'm like, this is not like, like the trafficking and the SA stuff. I'm like, that's no, like that, don't do that. Don't remove things that work in the comic and then put in something that it's not, it's very sensitive. And again, like, if you're gonna touch it, if you're gonna explore it, you have to do it delicately. And this is kind of like something that didn't. Again, like, the fact that we had so much cut from this film already is like, it's a strange choice. So I would say, like, yeah, some of the good spirits of the book, I think, is honored, but again, it's not like adapted and inspired by. They're two separate things. And I think that going forward, like, because I'm trying to, because I remember when they made the whole big announcement, they said these are the comics that were honoring or capturing the spirit of, like, I don't know, like with Brave and the Bold, like they were saying, oh, it's Grant Morrison's Batman run and this and this and this and that.
Are we going to talk about Batman, Andy? Can
No,
we talk
no,
about Batman
no.
now?
They also said Grant Morrison's Batman run, and at one point used a picture of Dick Grayson's Batman, and that's been bothering me for years, and I had to say that.
No, because when she pointed to me, I'm like, wait a minute, and then like I did the Google, and I'm like,
ScreenRant had the wrong tag image for like 2 years, and I kept messaging the guy that manages them, and I shouldn't say that on a live stream. I should.
No, it's fine. No, it's fine. Like, we love our yeah, no, it's all good. We love our calls at ScreenRant. So again, it's but again, like, yeah, these were some of the images that the DC was distributing in their press release. Like, sometimes, like, when, like, some of us who are journalists here, when we get press releases from these studios, like, sometimes they include art that they like kind of like would like to be preferred to be used during promotions of said project. Like for example, with lanterns, like they use a lot of Green Lantern Earth One shots very often. Like, one of the first press releases we ever got for lanterns has that shot of John and that shot of Hal. So yeah, but to Ben, I agree. I think that like, again, it's, when I say it's a mistake, I don't mean in the sense of it's a mistake and now the whole DCU is doomed, because I am so sick and tired of this conversation that, like, somehow, like, because one movie is being divided, but again, it's like the reason that this movie is getting the strong it's getting is partially because of legit criticism, but the other half is because men out there are so insecure and love being
100%.
incels that they rather attack a woman than understanding what it's like to be a woman and actually supporting it, because for some reason some men think that we rule the world and it should only be us. Fuck that shit. We need to get away from them. Us men, we need to be better. We need to be better than what these red pills morons are doing, because I want more movies like Supergirl. Like, I want female superhero movies that are good, of course. But again, it's like, I don't want Supergirl to somehow become the poster child for, like, this is why we can't have female superhero movies. I don't want. Yeah. What's up, Kyle?
Again.
No,
Yeah,
Allison, go ahead.
No, all I was gonna say again, because think about in the 80s, the Helen Slater movie bombing as much as that did, I think, also damaged the reputation of female-led superhero movies.
Well,
But
it was cyclical.
And I didn't hate it.
forever.
It was fun. That movie was fun.
it was camp.
It was
Yeah.
very camp. I love
It's
the wooden
camp.
board being pulled out of the ocean or the lake. I'm curious how, Andy, it'll be relatively normal segue. How do we feel about Anna working on more projects moving forward.
I'm scared about Teen Titans specifically because of Starfire as a direct result of her choices with this movie.
Mm.
Good point.
I would say I trust Anna more than I do Christina Hudson. However,
Correct.
hold on. Everyone, hold on. Because like I know, I can feel. I know what it's gonna do to me online, and it's not pretty. But what I will say is, I don't think it would hurt if Anna had a co-writer. Like again, I don't again because she's admitted that these are some of her this is her first feature film that she's written. Like I've seen worse scripts by writers who have been in this industry far longer.
Craig Mazin wrote movie 43, and then he made
movie.
The Last of Us and Sheep Detectives. That movie's awesome.
I want to see that. It's very cute.
I don't
very
feel.
James Gunn wrote the Scooby-Doo movies, which Andy and I love, but I know outside of our generation, they may not be as well received.
Our generation, you're not part of my generation. Remember, you told me I was old.
We're not supposed to ask this, but she's saying a lot of these age things. I think you need to divulge that because it's relevant to if we're old.
Are you asking a woman her age?
No, I didn't do that, as the transcript will show. I didn't say that.
I had to bully you. I'm 28, so I'm not that young.
That's not
but
Andy.
Andy and I are less
Andy.
than 5 years apart in age. I'm just bullying him.
Yeah, no, but she treats me like I'm in my 40s. So, which
I
means,
am in my 40s, Andy. Don't minimize it.
Why are you
look,
wow? Andy? What's wrong with
you
people approaching 40 or in
I did
there
not-
or past?
Bitch, did I say there was something wrong with it? What I'm saying is that there's is that
He's
I
just
am.
instead gatekeeping and telling me that I can't be part of your generation, even though I'm a cusper. So,
But we're generations. It's not like when you're saying our generation, I'm like, girl, like, what do you mean
I
our
mean,
generation?
more so people that would have grown up with the Scooby-Doo movies are more likely to have a positive reception of them because we watched them as kids. Whereas people who watch them as adults may be a little bit more critical and less forgiving of things like the bad Scooby CGI and the fact that that movie was caught somewhere between rated R, PG-13, and PG. Kids aren't going to mind that stuff as much. Adults might.
Andy, how old were you when Scooby came out? 02.
02, so I would have been if I I turned 33 this October. I can't do head math.
When were you born? Do that math.
1993.
Okay, so you were 9.
Yeah.
Then Allison would have been like 4.
Yep.
Okay, that's such a gap. Wow.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, when I loved it back then.
I listen.
I thought that Scooby dressed as Shaggy's grandma was funny. So
I loved it. That's like one of the best.
I love the first one. I don't like Monsters Unleashed.
That's fair.
It is what it is.
I only ever specifically.
I want to go back to.
one.
I want to go back to.
We should probably go back to Supergirl. I only brought that up.
I want to answer Cal's question how we feel about Anna. I'm against the people who are saying fire her, get rid of her from Wonder Woman, get rid of her from Supergirl, because again, between each project, writers learn and grow. Like they do get feedback. Like yes, James may have greenlit the Supergirl script because he generally felt like this is a good script. Again, people are saying, oh, he's talking out of his ass. I'm like, but you know that film is subjective. Like if he thinks it's good, like. He's not saying that you all have to agree with me that it's good. It's like, but he's saying that I'm green. He's his co-CEO. He's greenlighting.
It's his job to know, though.
Well, but I will point out scripts are often different on the page than how they come across on screen. Yes. So some of the gripes that people have with Supergirl may not actually have to do with what Anna wrote or Anna wrote.
Yeah.
True. It's like reading a book. The way that you read a book and conceptualize what you're reading is way different from the next person. So maybe the way that he read the script didn't play out the way that he kind of envisioned in his mind when he said, "Okay, this is a great script."
I'm just saying that I'm not okay with this culture of like let's fire Anna from these projects.
I was just asking. Because why I brought that up, there's a quote that I saw here that was in, where was it? It was in IndieWire. It said, Gunn insisted that Gillespie film the ending that was originally envisioned in the script, even though Gillespie was willing to film alternate versions if it wasn't received well at test screenings.
An alternative
like-
ending, by the way, is like that's normal. A lot of movies do alternative
that,
endings.
Yeah.
But they didn't film the alternative endings.
They didn't.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's
So
what
that-
I'm saying.
So does that mean that during testing people were actually fine with the ending then?
Well, no,
I
but
was
the
just
testing
interested.
would have happened after filming unless they were to do reshoots. So that would have been a decision that would have been made prior to test screenings.
Mm.
Yeah.
So I have mixed opinions there, because if you have enough faith in a script,
Mhm.
then, you know, you may not want or need to shoot alternate endings. At the same time, if your audience isn't responding well to something, having the flexibility to do it a different way
Mm.
is a good thing. And then I
Yeah.
also think perhaps that's a decision that should have been placed in the director's hands and not the producers. And I know that that's a little bit of a harsh statement, but
No,
I think
think
we
that's
see
fair.
that studio interference can really mess things up sometimes. Like, not to jump franchises, but that's a lot of what caused poor Anthony Mackie, Captain America: Brave New World, to be kind of messy.
What it is.
Oh my
yeah.
god,
A lot of
that
interference
fucking
on that movie.
movie.
Well, and based off of what Ben said, like this wasn't the implication was not Anna shouldn't make more stuff. It was just more, this is the first thing she's delivered within working in the world. And like, I know Andy, Game of Thrones is not your forte, but I think it's connected. These are obviously all under the WB banner. Like, this was we'll call it a loose adaptation, which is much more a different job than what will likely be original ideas just inspired by the characters, which she's even said in her interviews. And like Game of Thrones, it was an adaptation until it wasn't, because George R.R. stopped writing. So like, I wasn't saying fire her, but it'll be very interesting to see.
I didn't say you were saying. I'm talking more to
No,
the
I know.
haters
I'm
out there.
covering my bases just like you have been with yours. That I'm very curious what is going to inspire those those films, or however they wind up in the finished product, because those things, like we had Paradise Lost with a piece of artwork that I know Andy's never been able to find. We don't know where that specifically came from, or if it was original in the original announcement. But what I'd be curious, because of Ben's point, are they going to tell us now what is the inspiration for those projects, if it did lead to the kind of conversation we're having right now?
I found a quote also from Anna she did an interview with Variety, and they were asking about it because everyone is now, of course, because whenever a female screen, because everyone's like trying to like bird Anna right now online. Variety asked, James and Peter kept you in the fold on Superman to know about the connective tissue to Supergirl, but I understand not giving you all the deeds on the next one because you're a little busy crafting Wonder Woman and Teen Titans. What stage are those two in? And this is what Anna said, and I quote, "Oh, they are so early. They're in very different stages. I will say that. They're all just such great characters, and I can't believe I get to figure out what I would do with them the way that we did with Kara and Supergirl. But it's still early days on both." So again, like for the issues that people have with the Supergirl script, again, like if James generally thought that like this was a good script and he wanted to go ahead and greenlight it, then as a co-CEO, that's his right. Like, again, it's not our studio. But again, I think that now maybe she will take some of these feedback and constructive criticism. Like, she shouldn't listen to the haters because don't make time for them. But as she approaches Wonder Woman and Teen Titans, I think that, like from the impression I get of like when I've seen her interviews and how she talks about story and stuff like that, again, what goes on behind closed doors when it comes to editing, executives making the shots, like there's only so much Anna can do. Like, she's the writer, she's not even like the full person in charge of this movie. At the end of the day, it's Craig, and I want to remind everyone that Tom King was being referred to as an architect on this film. So again, what input did he give? What again, because I'm sure maybe he said, like, well, some of the things that I did in the comic, maybe you guys don't do in the film. Again, we don't know. That's we don't know.
And to your point, we don't know what she was told she'd have to keep from the comic too. She had written an entirely separate, Andy already knows this, she'd written an entirely separate script treatment years ago that was supposed to star Sasha Kaye. So it's possible that her original, even basing it on Woman of Tomorrow, like her original concept for this movie could have differed more, and she was steered in the direction of staying closer, especially if Tom King was involved. We don't know. And
I'm gonna bring up this
while I
comment
have
right away.
issues with her changes, I still really hesitate to dogpile on her and say this would all be her fault, even with me being specifically uncomfortable with some of the changes she chose to make. So
Lee Steeler says, it's not our studio, but we're the consumers he's selling to. I'm a Gunn fan, but his taste could be 50-50. Landers and Clayface looks great, though, as well as Man of Tomorrow. Yeah, I mean, we are the consumers. We are the ones that are, it's our money that goes into these tickets. But at the same time, like, we don't have the right to greenlight this film. It is James Gunn and Peter Safran's job. And I will say this, because Ben, I'm sure, because I know you and I, we have dealt a lot with the Snyderverse of it all. And, we come from an era where, like, we saw DC films constantly interfering with the filmmaker's vision. We're like, the fact that we don't have
film gets interfered with. So, like, those are little things that, like, we discussed about that earlier, where there's a rumor that there's an additional 20-something minutes that were cut out. So we don't know what kind of behind-the-scenes drama they had to deal with to cut that out, or whatever other issues that movie dealt with through its production. That could have been a detriment to the final product. Guys, I'm sorry.
I know you have to. I'm gonna let you go. I'm gonna let you go. So, I know you wrote, so I'm so sorry. But thank you for joining us.
No, thank you for having me. This was fun.
Of course, tell people if people don't know where to follow you. Tell them about Real Anarchy and what you can find on social media.
Everybody knows me. No, just kidding.
They should. Everyone should know you.
Have you met me? No, just kidding. No, but it was a pleasure hanging out with you guys. This was a lot of fun. You can just count on me next time if you want to do this again.
Hell yeah. Well, thank you for joining us and have a lovely night.
Thank you. Bye, Kyle. Bye.
bye.
Bye, Ben.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
We are coming up on the almost 2.5 hour mark. So I'd say, is there anything, because I want to go through some of the comments, of course, since we had so many people tuning in. Thank you so much for tuning in on this Saturday night. But any other thoughts about Supergirl that you want to bring up, whether it's positive or negative, or things that we just didn't touch upon in our main discussion? Allison, if you want to start.
Well, I have a couple notes just based on stray things that you guys said throughout, but I didn't want to interrupt you. So there actually is an explanation for Supergirl being in and out of costume, which is something that Kyle talked about, because they did place a very strong emphasis on her putting it on in this movie, even though there's the obvious implication that she'd worn it before. Michael Mooney, who is the costume designer on this, along with Anna B. Shepard, said that she was only out of costume because she was celebrating her birthday, and that just happens to be what she was doing when this story picked up. The greater significance to her putting it back on really was more so her overcoming the effects of the green sun and like finding the power to go help Ruthie. So it was metaphorical more than anything why they put that emphasis on the suit. The actual reason she was in a t-shirt and sweats is just because that's what she likes to wear to go drinking on her birthday. So,
which valid, I would too.
And then the other thing, Andy had mentioned the Kryptonian architecture. They did expressly want to be different than the crystals. We love the crystals, but we're tired of the crystals. It looked good in 78 because that was what they could do. We can move away from that now. Their specific inspiration for the set was Roman architecture, which I think when you know that, it really strongly comes through. Now, a funny story, and Andy knows this, there was drone footage of Warner Brothers Studios Leavesden that was the colonnade where her mother's funeral happened, and the person who uploaded the drone footage put American Town, and I was cracking up when I read that because I also wasn't allowed to tell ScreenRant that description was wrong. So I was trying really hard to be like, don't say that that's what it is. Say you don't know what it is. So that was a funny moment. And then another one, Jason Momoa had a lot of direct input on Lobo's character design for this. Like the skulls on his costume. The cigar he smoked was a working vape because he wanted it to be real and he wanted it to light up his face. So it was fully operational. He was just vaping in the middle of the set, which is a cool effect. He really did want that lighting to be apparent from the cigar. He thought that was too important to the character to omit. And yeah, so those are kind of just my stray tidbits of things that didn't fit into the conversation while we were talking. But
and we appreciate it.
oh wait,
I
and
forgot.
also I have this. This came from Cedric the Pooping Slug. And in case you want to know what it smells like, I did write about this, but
no, she really did.
Sweet, and then it has an afterburn. So it's sweet and spicy.
Sweet.
In case you wanted to know what alien food corn tastes like.
I mean, it's not the first time that they've done something like that. I think of Futurama and Slurm.
Yeah.
I forgot about the drone footage.
It was so funny, and it was funnier because I think you might have been the one that ended up writing about it, and I was like, "Yeah, they're probably wrong." It might have been you. It might have been one of our other writers because I think the superheroes section was still.
Yeah, this was. I mean, because we were
news.
Because we had to we couldn't cover everything from those drones because again it was because when we zoomed in, it's like we think that might be Jason Momoa as Loa, but we're not sure. It might be
and
really.
There was some that we thought could have been AI generated as well.
Yeah.
Andy's having Vietnam War flashbacks right now.
No, because
No, you remember. Go ahead.
Yeah, for once, the old man remembered something because I remember
I'm older than you.
Yeah, but I look older. But I remember because three of us here we know Molly. I remember we having the converse and being like, I have zoomed in so many times. I am almost positive that is a red cape. I am almost positive there's a yellow S.
I remember the exact image you're talking about.
Oh my god, because we got to work on getting these news up as quickly as we can, because that's just how we are as journalists. But it's kind of like, oh my god, how much do we have to zoom in, or
it's
to
a lot
screenshot
easier with Daredevil that films in New York.
But they're purposely telling photographers show up here at this time because I'm like, when you see Getty Images having these close-up shots at Finn Jones and Mike Holt and Christopher, I'm like, yeah, this was staged. I'm like, y'all are putting on these I'm hiding in my cover, and it's no, but y'all Marvel told these photographers they were gonna be there. So, but with Supergirl, it was so funny because there was very little that we saw from the actual filming of Supergirl. There was only I think 3 times that I remember when they were actually filming outside where where the drones could actually see, because most of it, all the other things we see in the movie, never saw it from set photos. I'm like, yeah, they could, this is why they can film in studios and stuff like that. So
I wanted to know, Allison brought up they wanted to go for a different architecture, but that just speaks to James Gunn was obsessed with the crystal tech because obviously that's what the Fortress of Solitude looks like.
Well, I think the Fortress of Solitude looking like that makes sense, even if that's not the architecture of Krypton, if only because it is still set in the Arctic.
Yeah.
But also he made the Fortress different enough where for example, it only shows up if someone with the House of L and their, if the DNA.
It's not all DNA. It opened for crypto, but
okay.
Maybe his DNA is programmed into.
He is a member of the House of L. Okay.
Yeah.
I do think Keenan had something to say.
Yeah, what's up, Keenan?
Oh no, I have to head out.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Do you have any final thoughts on Supergirl before we let you go?
What is the wildest thing I have in my notes?
Well, now I really want to know what you wrote
I think
down.
the wildest thing I wrote down was either wanted Ruthie to kill Krim or for his face to be Homelandered off.
That is...
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm glad it wasn't.
Too bad Magneto wasn't there with all those piercings.
It's. And again,
I did like when did it again. Kara headbutted him and a couple got stuck.
Stuck in her head. That was fun.
Yeah.
That was a fun detail.
It's the only time that design worked at all.
Otherwise, yeah, he was just ugly for the sake of being ugly. But yeah, what other wild notes do you have?
I think the other thing too was again, we don't know where she was coming from with that change, but I wrote did we have to? Didn't he slaughter? Like he committed a genocide in the comic, right?
Lobo?
Not Lobo.
no,
Krem.
Oh,
Krem. Right? Like, didn't he like kill a whole civilization of people?
There's something like that, but I don't remember for certain off the top of my head.
And so, like, the story is like her kind, and I am not a person that be like, oh, I want this to be, if it's saying it's an adaptation, that I want it to come directly from the comic. Like, it's inspired by, like, I get that. But again, we didn't need this, like, Epstein Island storyline to kind of, like, make us realize that this man was shitty. I love seeing anything where shitty men get beat up. So I was already on board.
There are many ways to be shitty.
Right.
It doesn't have to be that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I was like, like the Cross series just did a very similar like Epstein-y situation. And I'm just like,
Can you stop
hate
saying that name? Can you stop saying that
hate
name?
it.
Yeah, just stop saying the name of that man because I don't want to get shadow banned by YouTube.
I'm sorry. But
No, you're fine.
Cross. Alex
Yeah,
Cross.
actually, he just really YouTube does not like Alex Cross. They still remember the Tyler Perry movie.
So help me. So help me God, Kyle. I will fly up to Canada.
You're welcome. I have a spare bedroom. I've told you you can stay here if you come to visit. There's a place.
That's where I did. I didn't think that's where the offer was going.
Guests stay in spare bedrooms. See, your head is in the gutter.
No, like you're the one who brought up the bed. Shut up, Kyle. Keenan,
That's
anything
where
else?
people sleep.
That is all. I'm glad they confirmed that Superman's parents are horrible. But
yeah, I want to bring up Lingonberry's.
that,
I want to bring up Lingonberry's comment. Like I laughed a little when Alora was like, "Oh, that's the baby conger that your crazy brother said." No.
Great line.
I saw it and I was like, wait, did it just say that?
Oh, but it's.
I think I was.
my God.
Honestly, I think I was still holding on hope that it was like the message was doctored, but I was like, okay.
No, they
Oh my
fucked up.
God, Zor-El is like that crazy relative where it's like, oh God, I hope they don't bring up politics at the
Oh yeah. Oh, Jor-El would not be
Drill's
good
the
to bring.
junk uncle.
Oh, imagine Jor-El on Thanksgiving. Like, so, like he would be like, "Do we need Pride Month? Like, do we really need Pride Month?" Like, he would be one of those people.
What if Jor-El created Brainiac in this version of the universe?
No.
Hasn't he been involved in the creation of Brainiac before?
Well, I mean,
Yeah,
vaguely
yeah.
in STAS, there like the AI of the planet was Brainiac.
Mm-hmm.
Smallville did a similar thing, yeah, but then but then there is the whole aspect like he comes from like Cologne and he's like a Cologne-y
Clue
Clue. It sounds like I said
sounds like alcohol.
No, it sounds like a little jab at Clooney, like as in George Clooney. I'm like being a Clooney-head.
Well, he was in The Flash. You know what he did.
Can you stop bringing up that shitty movie? Like I am so like
Honestly, as much as we do not love George Clooney's Batman in this house, I would say that was like one of the least bad things about that movie. The tooth falling out after was a bit much.
Yeah, because I will say this before I let Keenan go. I want to say this because something like, because on Tuesday, it's coming Tuesday, Supergirl Radio, good friends of Supergirl Radio, they're going to be doing their review of Supergirl at 9 p.m. Eastern, and one of the things that I'm like as a Flash fan when I'm watching Supergirl, am like for all the wrongs and like issues I had with the Supergirls, whatever, I'm like, if I could have had at least half of this in the Flash and made it actually feel like a Flash movie, I would have been such a like. I'm jealous of Supergirl Radio that they like Supergirl is cool on the big screen. The Flash is not cool on the big screen. Grant Gustin is. The Flash movie will never. So
I have a mental image of Ezra Miller's running in my head right now because of that sentence.
running. What running? You mean the like when Barry is running, like like trying to use his powers, and like he's just running around in the GCP. I'm like, this is
That's not Barry. Like that's the biggest crime. Barry Allen is a jock. I know the Flash series ran for 9 years, but Barry Allen's supposed to be a jock.
I wouldn't say jock, but I would say his characterization is probably closer to what Eddie was like in the first season.
I'm too tired for this. Keenan, thank you for joining us as always. We're always happy when you
Thank
you
you.
join us. We're gonna again, you will be back hopefully in the next time when we do another show. But until then, tell people what you can find on social media. Tell them about the work you do at Multiverse of Color, the Rewind podcast, and anything else you'd like to promote.
You can find me on Instagram at reclaw.noneek. I just posted on my YouTube a Masters of the Universe review, and it was fun. If you miss fun movies, go see Masters of the Universe. My agenda is I want a She-Ra movie, and so I need this movie to do well.
Shouldn't have cast Jared Leto, but otherwise, yeah.
Listen, you don't have to see his face. You don't have to see
Yeah.
his face. And he's actually very funny. I will say, how dare Skeletor be good? I think he did a good job. But the movie is
Oscar
fun.
winner, so when he wants to be good, he can. But the acting isn't why I don't like Jared Leto. Anyway,
That's fair. That's fair. But I enjoyed it, and I want to know how everyone else feels about it. So go watch my review and
You
let me
click
know.
in the video description. If you click on Keenan's name, I have tagged his channel, so you guys can go subscribe and go check it
Yes,
out.
thanks. Thank you, Andy.
And of course, you can find him on the Rewind podcast with Jonah. You can find Keenan's work at Multiverse of Color, and
Yeah, they can find me. If they want to find me, they can find me. I'm very
Yeah.
Googleable.
but Keenan, we love you so much. Thank you for joining us as always, and you have a
Thank
lovely
you.
night.
Y'all, I'm about to fall asleep. Bonsoir.
Bye, Keenan.
Bye.
Bonsoir, hey, something.
Bonsoir.
New Rachel, no. I know you're joking, but blasphemy.
Oh, John Schneider.
it's bad enough that he already played Supergirl's adoptive dad. I knew Helen Slater play like she was married to that man.
I love Helen Slater got to go
Is he only
see the
in the
film, by
first
the way.
season?
We don't. Kyle, it doesn't matter. Move on. I love the Helen Slater got to go see the
Kane, I
film.
think, was on the first season, but not a lot.
Yeah.
They brought him back later, but irrelevant. And Andy's trying to change the subject, so
Yeah, I'm trying to.
let
Yeah,
tangent
yeah. I'm
happen.
not. I don't talk about Iceman. I like what I love that Helen Slater got to go see, and she posted on Instagram. I'm like, that's so sweet. Like, God bless Helen Slater and her contribution to the Superman legacy. Like through.
She's so cool. I love
Yeah,
her.
she's. I love her. I hope she gets like a cool little like stunt gig in the DCU at some point.
She's having a lot of fun ones though, because I mean, she was Laura. She also was oh my God, Mrs. Danvers, but I forgot her name, and I hate that
Eliza.
Eliza, yeah. So I mean, she's had some fun ones, and then I think she's done some voice work too. So, and I want to say she's done specifically some DC voice work, but I don't know that for certain off the top of my head. So you're right. It would be fun to see more of her. And poor lady has had her name tied to a movie that bombed for so long, and she was not even remotely the problem there.
She was not she was not the problem at all. She's the only reason if I were to rewatch Supergirl from 1984, it's only because of her, because she is she's doing the best she can with an attempt of a script. Kyle, do you have anything else you want to say about Supergirl that we haven't already touched upon? Positive, negatives, or anything else?
Helen Slater was Talia al Ghul. I didn't want to interrupt Allison in BTAS. I believe the second voice. Not the first voice.
That was her?
Yes.
Yeah, beloved. Yeah, that was her.
Icon.
She's an icon.
I'm not a Talia fan for reasons, but
obvious reasons. Oh, like Brave and the Bold, that they want to introduce the worst Robin ever.
I try not to hold that against Damian because the character's grown a lot, but that's an element they're going to have to change in the movie.
Yeah, he grew a lot because he was artificially generated. So Andy, I'm deliberately avoiding. No, in terms of Supergirl, I think what's so funny is it's a Supergirl movie. Supergirl is great. And for me, that's more than enough. Like we literally just talked about the history of the character. And like this is a feature film, I shouldn't say debut, but of this version of the character. I just want more. And we didn't talk a ton about the Superman film, but for me, I have gripes with that movie as well. It's far from perfect, but I just want more of these characters, which in this new version of the universe, at the end of the day, that is the thing they need to be doing. Like, thankfully, we already know what the next project's going to be. It's ironic that history is sort of repeating itself just in terms of critical reception, in terms of the cycle of this stuff. Like, we already know where these people are going to show up. Like BVS, when it was having one of the most historical second weekend bombs of all, or drop-offs, like Justice League was being made. I don't think that's what's going to happen here with the DCU, but it'll be interesting to see what they do with those characters outside of that, because we're clearly getting into other parts of the DC universe with Clayface and with Lanterns. Like, let's build out this DC universe, because I'm digging the Superman saga stuff, but there are other characters I'd like to see.
Speaking of Lanterns, Andy, the reason they push Lanterns till after Supergirl is because Kyle Chandler's going to make a cameo, or because there's going to be Chip in the movie. There's going to be some kind of Lanterns. Bull fucking shit. I told you this entire fucking time it was not the reason. And you
and would the movie be better? No. Would the movie be better with them in it? Yes.
No.
Yes, it would be.
I think it would depend on what they did with the characters. That's always going to be subjective. Like, could it have been better? Yes.
No, but Alan, you don't understand. This man said it would
also, yes.
Multiple times. This man said it with his entire chest, all the way from Canada. Like, this is the reason.
I have watched your prior podcasts.
Yeah, and
so
I'm like, Kyle, that's not the reason they put Lanterns after Supergirl. It's because other reason. And he's like, nah, but what? There has to be a reason. I'm just like,
no, I don't think it was unreasonable to think there may have been a cameo. And I think part of that is because we're conditioned to the Marvel formula, which is next thing is going to get teased, or one of the next things will be. Now, do they always follow through? No, I haven't seen Harry Styles in a Marvel movie, but.
Or Roy Kent.
Yeah, or him.
Oh my God, I forgot that they made him Hercules. Hercules. For those who really know that reference, I'm proud of you. For those who don't, Google it.
We'll tell them to Google that reference.
Hercules?
Yeah.
Why would that be a bad thing?
I just don't think that's something people should be looking up.
But here's something. One of the last things I want to add about Supergirl is that I love that there wasn't any obvious setup of Man of Tomorrow. Like, I just love that she came back to their apartment. Apparently they shared an apartment. I mean, it's like, now that makes sense, because a journalist should not be able to afford an apartment.
I had that thought in Superman, because his apartment was so freaking nice.
They're always huge. Have you seen the set photos of Spider-Man's apartment?
Yeah, but Lois's looked at least a little bit more appropriate in that it had like kind of a dinky kitchen, even though it was big and full of books and everything. So they always tried to make it look like it might have been a cheaper apartment.
But Clark's just looked like y'all. Like, I'm a journalist.
Clark is like, how successful is the Kent farm when you see that apartment?
They're contracted out by like McDonald's or something.
What Kent farm? It's like a Kent. How?
Andy, one thing I will point out, and I will keep this very, very short, because obviously we are way over the time.
No, you're fine. Like, say what you want to say.
In the American South, and of course that's not the South, it's Kansas, most farmhouses are significantly smaller than the Kent house has been shown in the past. Like, that is just a normal house.
No,
and
We've
been looking at like the Kent mansions in the past. So
does Kara pay rent? I don't know. I don't even know if she has a job.
Girl probably does not pay rent. Oh my God, is she a barista?
No.
Millie has worked in restaurants before, so bring that in. Maybe Kara has like a back of the line job in a kitchen or something.
Maybe Clark and Lois are living together in Man of Tomorrow, and then she gets Clark's place.
I mean, could be, but she'd still have to pay for it. It's not like Clark is just he could.
Yeah, no, that's true
for her, but
unless he's writing
articles about Earth parents, it seems like in this iteration. So
you know what's interesting? So I found someone posted a picture of one of the Supergirl Barbies, and on the back of it, they refer to as Kara Danvers, and I'm like, is
That's just a screw up by a product
That's
launch.
likely a
yeah, 'cause-
mistake, but I mean, I have a feeling it might be a little bit more like, wasn't it the animated series where she ended up spending more time with the Kents specifically?
Yes.
So that may be the direction they go with here. That may be the simpler way to handle it. They've
One
done a lot
also
of
because she
streamlining-
doesn't know how to use her powers.
Well, and they've
right?
done
Like-
a lot of streamlining already with Kara's story. Specifically, it seems that they've cut out the Phantom Zone in favor of just making her actually younger than Clark.
I didn't
Yeah,
love that.
I
Like,
didn't
it was-
love it, but if they're streamlining, then it makes sense that, okay, if we're going to streamline that part, then maybe, yeah, they are going to get rid of the other Earth parents, and maybe she was partially raised by the Kents too.
Mhm.
So, I mean, they're I'm not going to say that's what I want, but I am saying, like, it isn't a change that I would hate.
Yeah. Well, the writing,
I
I
was-
meant more in terms of the age. Like, they seem to address it with one line of dialogue when she talks about, like, their hearts, as opposed to her being chronologically older than Clark.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the delay was used in a different way.
Well, and also trauma ages you, so
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah,
so
make
she
you
was
grow
technically
faster.
older before her time.
Mhm.
I think it was a casual part of the
Had a
film.
pretty happy childhood, so
Yeah, I like it was a casual part of the film. Like even the whole part of like why is he called Superman and you're not called Superwoman? I'm like, yeah, like like it makes sense that it was a simple conversation, but again, it made sense that Ruby would have those questions. But
well,
Let's
I
go
mean, the Supergirl TV show handled that too with the Cat Grant scene, where Cat Grant actually was the one that named her, but they handled it maybe a little less delicately. They just had Calista Flockhart joke about it in that show, but
I love Calista Flockhart as Craig. Like that was
she was great, and the show suffered when she left. So
Yes, it did. Yes, it
yep.
did.
But let's go through some comments before we wrap this up. So I'm gonna and we have lots of comments. So I'm gonna
oh no, did we?
No, it's fine. It's fine. Either they're mad at me or they're they have actual thoughts.
This is my first time here, though. So if I anger people, you're not gonna want me back.
Or Allison, because people commented, he'll want you back. So people comment.
Oh no, I'm the rage bait.
No, I don't use people for content like that. Like if I have her on the show, it's because I'm like, yeah, she's my friend and colleague. I like talking to her and hearing her perspective. So Kyle, I only have you on because I can't get Rob to get on. But
Wow.
kidding.
No, wow.
Silhouette Animator says, I watched the movie earlier today and I really enjoyed it. I think the subject matter was really uncomfortable at some parts, though,
Mhm.
which is fair. Douglas Fire says, I just seen the movie and thought it was good. Not best, but 7.5.
That's totally fair.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's-
I gave it somewhere about a 7.5 or an 8. Like, again, it's like,
definitely passed. So being ranked 7 or higher makes sense.
What would
Yeah.
you give Superman?
Me?
Yeah, what would you like the two of you? What would you rank Superman? Like out of 10?
It's probably a 9 for me, but I'm also a
Okay.
Superman person. And
Okay.
I
Yeah.
specifically
But
like optimistic Superman.
Sure.
So I think in this case, I'm not purely capable of being unbiased in ranking
Okay.
that movie. But
Okay.
I think despite its issues, it's a movie that really understands what it's trying to be and what it's trying to convey. And that's really why it clicks with me. Like the way that it juxtaposes Clark and Lex and their viewpoints really works for me. And that's the crux of why I think that's a good movie. But also, I loved Smallville, so maybe the Clark and Lex of it all just scratched that itch.
Have you read Superman Birthright?
Yes.
Awesome. Andy, what's your number out of 10?
Okay, so for the record, I don't remember what I said on the Superman movie review stream that we did last year. So, but now that I have time to like rewatch the film several times, because I remember I said to, I don't remember who I said it to, but I remember I said it to someone right after I got out of the film. I gave Man of Steel an 8.5 and I gave Superman a 9. Like, so like that's what I would give. Lingenberg says, yeah, director said in an interview that he purposely didn't read Woman of Tomorrow at first and got his aesthetic direction initially from the script itself when he described as more dusty and improvised. I think that's what I'm trying to say. Improvised. I'm old. I can't read anymore.
No, it's not that. I was
yeah.
just trying to help. Sorry.
No, I'm messing with you. Lincoln Rose, I'm very curious to see how far they take her willingness to kill, especially for a Kryptonian. Yeah.
Well, and that may
Got
have
it.
different implications with some of the lore changes they've made to Kryptonians, but even factoring in her parents not being that way, it would be interesting. Plus, also, he did bring up the point of, has she done it before, which is unclear. So,
Yeah. I don't think she's like killed like 10 dozens of people. I think she's like killed maybe at least twice.
I think
Like
it would
once
be
was
interesting
an
if
accident.
he and Clark ever talk about it.
If we can have what Lois and Clark had in the beginning of the movie last year when they were talking about, when she's doing the interview, if we can have a version of that between Kara and Clark be handled that well, then
Well, they'll have to have a conversation, and it will be about Lex.
Well, but Lex is going to be potentially working with them for portions of the movie, which will be very interesting to see, especially because we have not seen Kara's reaction to finding out her dog had been taken by Lex. So I have a feeling she's not going to be pro Lex.
Kingdom the creator says James Gunn got the character all wrong. This is not Star-Lord. It's supposed to be Supergirl. She's not supposed to be a filthy-looking jaded punk. Lobo's appearance was meaningless. The villain's existence in the movie makes no sense. He absolutely had no motive and consistently shows up with another meaning this character talks about him.
I think
this is not
character.
Yeah, meaningless. Yeah, like again, I don't think this is. I'm tired of the Star-Lord Guardians comparisons. Like James Gunn doesn't own that genre. Also, Chris Pratt sucks.
Red headphones exist and people use them. It's all right that she has similar headphones to Star-Lord.
Yeah. But God forbid that women breed and exist, Allison. Like,
You're trying to tell me that?
That's why. I guess that's why. Yeah, I'm mansplaining it to you. You shouldn't.
Is that why I'm on this stream? You realized, oh no, it's all men on here. I gotta invite somebody quick.
No, because I've always liked to be inclusive for people who are, if they're watching this for the first time. I know she knows it.
Andy's not like that. This is all being said in jest.
Yeah. Let's see. Let me go through. Lingenberg says, for me, I struggle with it because I agree with this being a problematic story trope across women's stories, but also Woman Tomorrow itself is even darker than the film, so I appreciate the movie keeping in that tone.
So yes, but also no. It's darker, but it doesn't deal with this particular subject matter in this way. Yeah. So I get what they're saying, but I don't fully agree. But I don't think they're inherently wrong. I just don't agree.
Yeah. No, it's
darker in a different way. So,
yeah, exactly. Like one doesn't erase the other, but like they can be darker for very, very, very different reasons. And it's again, some things need to be handled very delicately than others. So, but will.
Here, I will make the most out-of-pocket comparison possible. The girl in the dragon with the dragon tattoo is going to be dark in a very different way than Schindler's List is going to be dark, but they're both very dark. So, the thing is, you can have different types of heavy storylines. So, I think perhaps that was an attempt from Anna to try and keep darker elements in the movie. And mileage may vary. So, yeah. Anyways, we're not going to get back on that conversation about the again because I'm not going to keep you up too late, Andy.
Yeah, that's fine. We're going to do some more comments. Mind the gap. Good to see you. Always showing up when we go live. I think it's been overtaken. It's been mixed reviews or bombed for most of the movie, and I can see them saying that DC is more trouble than it's worth. Not that I'm advocating for it. Yeah, I mean, again, like it's I'm sure executives at Warner are like they're going to look at this and kind of wonder, what do we do? But again, the DC
change coming, so at Warner Brothers. So,
oh my god, that merger. Let's see what a few more comments. I'm glad you guys all are conversing with each other in the comments. So I like that. Okay, Annie likes stuff chat. That's not. I promise that's not me, but that's a funny name. Supergirl could do better than Masters of the Universe in the box office. It definitely won't in physical media and cult status.
See no. Like am a Motu fan. If Motu continued to do well, like a great example of that is the most recent Kevin Smith's shows, which were actually the only good Masters of the Universe. The original cartoon does not hold up. If those toys sold well, they would have kept making the show. They stopped making the show because those shows are made to sell merch, just like the original stuff was in the 80s. It'll be the thing that Supergirl has to its advantage, and we saw this with Supergirl or Superman, even though Superman wasn't the $1 billion that everybody hoped it would be, and people tried to argue that it wasn't successful. It was. It also did incredibly well on HBO Max.
Yeah.
So Warner Brothers has the benefit, and I saw this somewhere, I don't know if you two saw it, that in order for Supergirl to turn a profit, it's got to gross something like 300 worldwide, I think. And you have also the advantage of HBO Max. Like there have been films that have continued. A great example, Mortal Kombat 1. That was not yes, I know COVID happened, but it got a ton of people to watch it on HBO Max because it was day and day for both of that release date.
Yeah.
Same thing with Dune Part 1 and Godzilla versus Kong.
Yeah.
I was about to just go Wonder Woman 1984.
No. Max Lord, the Stone. Forest Ender says, I still feel like some of the meaning of Woman of Tomorrow was lost. When I read Woman of Tomorrow, I felt like Supergirl was trying to teach Ruby about mercy. I feel like the movie got it wrong.
I did touch on that. I kind of think they muddied the message a little bit, but mileage may vary on that point. For some people, killing Krem may have been more narratively important. So
James Leonard says she does not want the girl to be scared if she takes revenge, but she's not Superman. She's willing to bust heads and break bones to fight for people or crypto. LOL. Yeah, that's again reminding us that Kara and Clark are different. Will they address it? Hopefully. Let's cross our fingers.
Will break bones, though. I will say there were definitely some bones breaking in Superman and some lost teeth. So
yeah. I mean, like Clark, like,
but no killing. No.
Yeah, there was no killing. Like people, like some people were trying to say, "Oh, look, he killed all the Lex."
They had super suits on.
Yeah, and they were literally twitching while they were on the ground.
They were very, very severely injured, but
yeah, they were twitching. Like they're still there. I want to bring up some of New Rachel's comment because she's been a long time listener of DC Bug. I really enjoyed that. I missed Kara on my screen a lot. Same. Do I wish it could have been more like the comic? Sure. Do I also like what it did and enjoy Kara and Ruby's journey? Also, yes. Kara is supposed to be Man of Tomorrow, right? It'll be really interesting to see what she does when she encounters Brainiac.
What version of Brainiac are we going to get, right? Like, are we going to get the version that's connected to Krypton, or is it just going to be, I need all of the information all over the galaxy?
Well, collector, Dad is a scientist in this version, so it's possible that maybe Zor-El is the one that has ties to Brainiac.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Also, Zor-El, the guy who played Zor-El, loved him.
Bernard from the Santa Claus?
I was thinking that, and I whispered that to my mom, and she's like, no. While we were watching.
Andy doesn't know who this is.
No, I was... I think
is there a spider again?
No, thank you for fucking reminding me.
There was no hate in that response, Andy.
He
doesn't like me. I don't know why he brings me on.
Again, because Rob wasn't available. New Rachel says, at the same time, there have been so many criticisms of this movie. Cop, that variety. Oh my. Variety, you're disgusting. There that have just been straight up misogyny, and that sucks. Yeah, there are.
Yeah.
The day I covered the Rotten Tomatoes score at ScreenRant, and I saw. I'm not going to say the name because I don't want to give these people a platform. But some of the wild things that they put up in their reviews on Rotten Tomatoes, I'm like, this is fucking disgusting. This is, you shouldn't be allowed to critique films when I'm not getting into it, but it's disgusting.
Look, misogynists exist. It's whatever if that's their opinion. Go read a book, but at the end of the day, they should at least do their job and not let that seep into their reviews and spread hate. But that's just not how brains work.
Lingenberry says, "I hope Comet makes an appearance eventually, please." Yes, yeah, that
I
would have
want
been
Streaky,
fun.
the super cat.
Well, that'll be interesting because Streaky's normally been Supergirls and Crypto's normally been Supermans. A lot of the content I've read and watched. So interesting. Are they going to make Clark instead like obsessed with cats instead? It's him and Lois and their super cat.
I'm okay for a Crypto break though. Like two movies back to back.
I think obviously he'll probably still be around in Man of Tomorrow, but they probably won't lean on him as much, especially with him being such a pivotal part, more so even in Superman than he was in this. In this, he was kind of more of
the
a plot.
inciting incident was his injury, right?
Yeah.
I love Crypto
for the first 30 minutes, but
I think this might be a question that maybe Allison can answer from your set visit. Where did the Kryptonian language evolve from? Was that something that came up in the set visit?
They had linguists involved in it from what I remember, but I didn't have any specific notes or recollection of whether they said any specific languages. So I don't know for sure. And I do know that they have worked on other alien languages like the one on here, but likewise, I don't know where all it came from. Like this is probably most similar since y'all can't see it super well. It would look the most like Japanese, except there are additional circles and glyphs.
One of the final comments I'm going to bring up is from a constant racing mind 8384 8343. Wow, I really can't read. In spite of the problems with the film, I still found it entertaining. The killer at the end seems to me a reflection on our times and where society stands now in the world. As someone who doesn't know much about DC Comics in general, I enjoyed it. I really like Superman too.
I mean, at the end of the day, isn't that kind of what these movies are supposed to do, especially as a reboot? Bring more people into the fandom. If it's working, it's working.
Exactly. But I think that's a good place to wrap because it's almost midnight, and Kyle will murder me if I keep talking. So, no, I know he will because he's like, Andy, I have, summer break. I have kids. I have things I got to do tomorrow. So messing with you, Kyle. I love you, and you're definitely not just insert Rob villain. Although if Rob, if you ever want to come on and talk with us, more than welcome to. Don't know where he is right now. Probably busy with something. Hopefully he watched Supergirl and enjoyed it. But I want to thank all of our guests who came on. Of course, Ben from Real Anarchy. What?
Look at his name. Please screenshot this and send this to Rob.
Please do.
You want me to text him or are you going to send it to him?
What if we all just text him being like,
Honestly, screenshot it. We'll all just send it to him. No context.
Yeah, he will be like, what are they doing? Rob, we love you. I hope you're doing well wherever you are right now. But yeah, thank you everyone who joined us. Ben from Real Anarchy, Keenan. Yara sadly couldn't join us, but we will have her on in a future episode. And of course, Ben from Ben's Takes. So it's lots of fun. And Allison, it was lovely. Yeah, I'm gonna bring you back on that, definitely.
You don't sound too sure about that.
No, I know. I will, because I think we're gonna have a lot of fun.
Now it sounds like a threat. You have two modes.
Fuck me, I can't do anything right. If you want to come back, cool. If you don't,
sorry, I'm not gonna.
But thank you for joining us. Thank you for sharing your thoughts on Supergirl, talking about the set visit, of course, and bringing your passion for DC stuff. So I will start with you. Where can people find you online, social media, anything you want to plug?
No crazy plugs. I largely in the entertainment space operate off of ScreenRant. My Instagram is just _Hambrick. So I mean, I'm not hard to find. So yeah, go read my set report, I guess.
There you go. Not Rob or Kyle. Where can we find you on social media, and tell them about the amazing Film Reelists Podcast?
Oh, you're talking about the podcast from a complete nobody that's hopefully for somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm not Yes, I am tired, but I'm not mad at how long the conversation went. I thought it was great. Yes, I am the host, all the things for the Film Reelists Podcast. That's I guess I already said the slogan, covering all the major things. Of course, I am a contributor as well on the Multiverse of Color. Recently did my initial thoughts on the first 4 episodes of House of the Dragon season 3. I'm trying to think of what else is coming up. This summer's crazy, so follow Film Reelists on all the stuff. I guess one thing I also did my first thoughts on the first 4 episodes of X-Men 97. And then there's going to be some other stuff Andy and I are cooking up that I'm going to start actually very, very soon. Allison, I would absolutely love to have you on the Film Reelists. So that'd
be awesome. Love to.
That would be great. We could have a chat without Andy.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I don't even like chatting. I don't even like chatting with myself. So I feel that. But you can find me at Anime Bite on all social media. I'm a senior lead writer on ScreenRant, where I cover everything film and TV now these days. I also do interviews there. I have some things coming up next week, so that'll be fun. So check that out. I'm also, of course, the editor-in-chief of multiverseofcolor.com, where you can find all of my amazing team members. Great work. We're getting ready for San Diego Comic-Con in just less than a month. So we're going to have lots of coverage there. And Showrunner Whisper, I'm currently editing. The first episode will be back hopefully sometime in July. So get ready for that. And go watch Supergirl. It's better than what people are saying. And this especially goes out to men listening to this. The bad ones are taking too much attention. They're getting too much focus. They are killing the parts of society that we need. We cannot let them win. And if you believe in female stories, you will go watch Supergirl and form your own opinion. You will not go and listen to some red pill YouTuber who hasn't even seen the film, or you won't go listen to someone who keeps constantly hating on Supergirl but is an actual wife beater with a record. If you know, you know. You will go watch the film for yourself, form an opinion. If you like it, great. If you don't like it, that's within your right. But don't do it because these morons are telling you not to give in to some woke feminist agenda, or because these assholes are image shaming Millie Alcock every single day they can, even though she's a gorgeous woman, and these trolls are living in their basements who have never seen a shred of sunlight in their whole lives because they're busy attacking women online. Don't let them win. If you want to use your money right at the box office, this is how you can do it. And that was the calmest way I could say it. I had way more aggressive ways I was going to say it initially, but I'm like, no, I don't need to be like those idiots. So there you go. But everyone watching, thank you for tuning in. Don't forget you can subscribe to all the channels that this episode was streamed across. We will be back with more episodes of DC Studios Podcast in the near future. We're getting ready for Lanterns on August 16th. We'll chip in that. We will see. Hopefully Cal will get more Green Lantern tie-ins, just not in Supergirl. But for everyone here, thank you so much for joining us. And don't forget to like and subscribe. If you enjoy the podcast, rate us on Apple Podcasts. That really helps the show. And we'll see you in the next one. Have a good night, everyone, and enjoy Supergirl if you haven't already seen it.